Hello, how is everyone in the chat doing? Today I am not joined by anyone yet. Maybe joined by someone after a while, but right now it's just going to be me. So let me make sure I have the thing pulled up. But anyways, how's everything been going on with the chat since the last stream? One moment, let me make sure my thing is not robot-y, I guess. No, don't seem to be robot-y. Yay, we may have a stream thing with no issues for a bit. But anyways, I had thought about what happened last week and I decided to come a little bit more prepared. And this week I noticed that there was Google Documents centering around some drama with another channel that we are going to look at. Anyone who's been paying a little bit of attention probably can guess what I'm referring to. But anyways, let me screen share that. Application, we're gonna go to not. So yes, in case you're wondering, we are looking at the whole like document thing with the channel Awesome, who has been going through some drama as of late. Because I thought that'd be interesting because be an interesting way to see what the heck happened here. And while I am going through this, I want to remind everyone in the chat or anyone who listens to remember the whole thing that happened with the Fine Bros a few years back, and where they try to trademark a word with the type of content they're doing. I bring that up because that's going to be somewhat relevant, because I want to see whether what happened with Channel Awesome is on the same level as what happened with the Fine Bros. Okay. Oh, and hi, Jinx. Hi, Will. But anyways, so let's start. So this is version 2.0, I guess. Record of the events while working for that guy with the glasses. I think that's Nostalgia Critic. I don't know. I've never really watched the show too much, or the channel. There are many different grievances that need to be shared, but the following points are what we feel are most grievous and should be known by the public above all others. This is for record and organization to help clarify and reform. This is not about defamation or destruction, but clearing the air and correcting misconceptions. Okay. Hi, Jacob, and hi. I think I said hi, Will. But anyways, so for an abridged, simplified account of all grievances, please refer to this condensed version here. No. I'm sticking with the thing I have here. Thank you for taking all the time to read the context of this document. Oh, and just a heads up, I have actually not looked at these yet, so I have no idea what they contain. So, for all I know, I may be looking at something that's been a big huff about nothing. We are going to look through and see. Within its many pages are lengthy stories about from a number of contributors airing their grievances about the way they and others were handled by working professionally with Channel Awesome and the management, namely Mike McCod, Doug Walker. That's the only person who I can actually point to who the heck he is. And technically, he is like, when you think of Channel Awesome, normally the person I go to is the Doug Walker, the nostalgia critic. So whatever happened with Doug Walker is probably going to be what's considered the biggest deal. And Rob Walker. I'm just trying to keep a good eye on the chat. But anyways, though the descriptions are vast, this likely does not cover every single possible story of mismanagement over the course of the last 10 years. There are other content creators both those who previously partnered with Channel Awesome and those who continue to be partnered with Channel Awesome, who have not contributed their stories to this document, though many of their stories can be found in other places if you look hard enough. All right, nice to know. So I guess if you want to know more, you can go searching. Something that has occurred to me is this is going to be probably a lengthy thing. Rick voice, those walkers. Good one, Will. But anyways, there are numerous reasons why any of us would want to share these stories with you. The biggest one is it's a common belief that the public deserves the right to know what dealings within this company. Okay. To any YouTubers who happen to be watching this, be cautious when you join a YouTube channel that is also a company. Like, that's the one thing you can probably take away from both this and the Fine Bro situation. When much of this was finally becoming public in the middle of March 2018, many people wanted answers to many different questions, which is fair. I think that happens whenever there's a big blow up around a major channel that was previously considered to be, let's be generous and use the term righteous. And before we continue, I'm going to try and share the link to the stream across the YouTubes. Because that will help get some attention. Tweet out. What? Okay. Sent a link out over the Twits. You guys, if you want, can put it anywhere else you want. And I'm putting it on the Twits. Anyways, when much of this finally became public, many of us wanted. Oh wait, I think I went up. Did I? Many people wanted answers to many different questions, while it seemed like our Twitter feeds were containing all these answers. Twitter is not especially easy to read format. That is true, especially when it branches and splinters when new people join the conversation. The number one reason to create this document is giving the audience one solid place to be able to read all these stories updated directly by former content producers so that you have the most accurate information directly from us. Okay. Many of us wonder what the ultimate goal of releasing this document is. The goal is that may be different for each contributor. Some may wish to get this information off their chest after being held onto it for many years. Others may want the management of Channel Awesome to answered for many of their egregious behaviors over the last decade, which I can understand. Okay, let's go down a little. Oh, boy. One goal of many contributors is to share the is hope that Channel Awesome would both acknowledge and apologize for its behaviors on both a public and personal level with the former and current producers. However, we do not necessarily expect that apology, as nice as it may be. Perhaps the best we can do is hope that there is acknowledgement of any sort, good or bad. If that's not possible, then certainly we hope that by telling our stories, we are able to protect the other innocent people from having to experience anything like this in the future, whether it be in a contributor or fan. None of us want anyone else to go through the kind of treatment we went through over 10 years. Some behavior is much worse than others. We believe whether or you're working with Channel Awesome or similar entertainment entities, there will be people in this world who do not necessarily care about who you are and more willing to say whatever they need to say and do whatever it takes to use your gifts and talents to boost themselves without giving you a second thought. Yeah, that's kind of the entertainment industry. I'm sure if you looked at it, there's many entertainment companies who do not care about the people who do the jobs for them. But yeah, yep, that's showbiz. That's exactly right. And let me just make something clear. If this right here, the boost themselves without giving you a second thought, is the worst of their crimes, then this is nowhere near the level of Fine Bros. And I am going to keep bringing that up because I feel that is somewhat relevant to this conversation. We hope that other people considering partnering with an entertainment group will take our stories as a cautionary tale and use our stories to protect themselves as they join a vast world of content creation. All right, so yeah. One moment. Let's see. Okay. As a personal note, I do not regret speaking up about things I witnessed soon. I often regret not speaking up about things that I've witnessed any sooner than I did. Perhaps now is too little too late, but if we can make heads of tails of this now, today, maybe the time is right for us to do the right thing and tell you what we've been through. Thank you for taking the time to read our stories about our time at Channel Awesome and the management of Mike, Doug, and Rob. We all wish you nothing but the best and use our pages to your own logical conclusions of yourself. Good grief, what the heck? Oh boy. Well, we have a considerable amount of these. Huh. Wow. Holy crap, and hmm. Well, we will go until I get bored of it or there's not enough time to go through it all. Um, Anyways, one moment. Let me see. Lots of names. Yes, there is lots of names. Well, might as well go through it. What the? So this person is Allison Pregler. Pregler. She's Pregler, people. She's Pregler. Pregler. Any Pregler people in the chat? We were not employed by Channel Awesome. Channel Awesome simply embeds videos on their sites. Outside of anniversary videos, no contracts were involved. The only people paid are the people involved with the Chicago crew. All right. See, I'm not a business person, so a good chance is that I'm not going to understand most of this. The biggest of their numerous problems is Mike McCod. That's his name through this thing. I don't care if it's pronounced another way. Machad. I prefer McCod. The site's CEO. There were two other CEOs that were stated, Mike Ellis and oh boy, Bargov Dronam Raju Dur Bargov Dronam Ramja. Oh boy. Both of whom are no longer with the site. Was this before or after all this came out? The name Greg occasionally appears in this document. This is Mike's brother, who handles the scheduling of producer videos. Mike owns the IP of the nostalgic critic character and is a major shareholder in the company. On two separate occasions, women were confronted angrily by either Mike Ellis or Mike McCod, being blamed for something a guy they knew did. One of those insults resulted in he once bitched me out because Lee went over his head once he sent him an email and copied Mike on it. Yes, he complained to me about someone else going over his head. I think that I might still have that email somewhere. Well, after that happened, I left Lee a Skype message. No doubt he will be unpleased with. I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this information? Did he think was as annoyed by Lee as he was, and I was gonna commiserate him over it? Like, that was so much FMI. Sounded irritated me considering McCod and I had no other issues like this with any other producers. It was definitely not cool that Lee had emailed McCod after talking with me. In case it hasn't been made clear enough already, communication was terrible and Lee wanted to make sure his email was seen by one of the higher-ups, but Ellis acted like copying McCod on the email was a betrayal of some kind. It was weird. A producer leaving. See. Okay. Frequently, if a guy spoke up, it if a guy spoke up, it was ignored. If a woman spoke up, they were labeled troublemakers. Mike would frequently try to bully them. Most of the women felt very uncomfortable talking to him, and it was a repeating pattern that he would have been more aggressive towards someone speaking up if they were a woman. As three of us were kicked off the site for that very reason, the male producers who did the same thing are still on the site. So, yeah, okay, I can see the issue there. Oh boy. Hmm, okay. All communic. Oh wait, more details in Sean and Hallie's section, but CA was aware of sexual harassment from Mike Ellis for at least 2 years and did nothing. Oh boy. When he finally let go, it for was for other legal reasons. They were also aware of a prominent producer who was grooming female fans and coercing them into sex and failed to take action for years. Oh boy. Hmm. Well, now that's that sucks. Um, all communication was done via Skype group with all the producers. So okay. We did not communicate through email, and Makad would disappear for long periods of time. No one wanted to talk to us. Well, fuck. Must have been a lonely little existence. People who. The people were told to talk to Makad, Rob, and Holly. When Holly was fired, it was just those two. Mike was so against being involved with or doing anything that he eventually became silent CEO, which meant it was just Rob who didn't want the job. Anytime we came to him with complaints, he would call his children behind our backs. Okay, so from the sounds of it, it sounds like they were jerks and maybe perverts. Doug is not considered anything but talent, yet frequently is part of business calls and the like, including the one highlighted here. There's nothing highlighted. He is occasionally part of company decisions. He is more involved with the business than he likes to let on, and is also involved as a human being in face of the company, which is fair. So, like, if I were Channel Awesome at this point, what I'd probably do is, I don't know. I guess I've never been in a business, but maybe like try and make sure Doug here gets from shielded from as much as possible. They were so unaware of anything going on with the site that Rob thought someone was asking for an interviewer from was a producer. Communication was the worst. They would never tell us anything. It was like pulling teeth to get answers from anyone. Frequently, we would find out things after the fact and have to come to them when to find out what was happening. Okay. Blistered Thumbs producers were never told anything. Blistered Thumbs producers were never told the site was shutting down. They found out when they saw the announcement on the front page. Several producers were let go without being informed. Geez, this was handled worse than Kilroy. Perv jerks, yes, exactly. When I joined the site, I was given a list of rules to follow. Mostly common sense things like don't post hate speech, etc. That's not common sense, but whatever. The section saying to find the company policy was labeled coming soon. All delayed or missing videos must be reported to Holly Brown by 5 p.m. due to their due date. All company policies are laid out in this link. Coming soon. Wow, that is not a good decision on your part. All questions regarding the policy should be addressed to Mike Rob. Any concerns or issues can be addressed with Holly Brown, Robert Walker, or in emergency cases, Mike McCod. Skype protocol. At a later point in time, when I'm creating Radu reviews, I don't know what those are. I'm randomly told I need to ask them permission to do new shows. Now, that I can somewhat understand. You sign up to have yourself be used by a company, essentially. You don't really get to choose how you get used. Not saying I like it, but when you signed the whole thing or whatever that happened, it's what's going to happen. So I asked Rob for permission, and he seems to have no idea why I'm asking. Years later, Phelan is astounded to find out that this list exists because no one who came to the site before me got these rules or told about them. These rules were arbitrarily enforced, and usually if they wanted an excuse to get rid of someone anyway. At one point, they sent a written reprimand to Welshie that was meant for Sad Panda. How can a panda be sad? Because they couldn't tell the difference between them. Phelan received a reprimand for tweeting a joke making fun of Dino Real Twist by saying he was going to reveal Valeros was Sub-Zero the whole time. He was told to apologize to Doug personally. Oh boy. Doug knew nothing tech-wise to the point of endless frustration. No, he doesn't look like that person. He didn't know how to record commentaries. He would just have people in Chicago sit close to the camera and record it on the onboard mic. When he had to record the Moulin Rouge commentary over Skype, he had me sit in and listen to it. I was not part of the Moulin Rouge crossover. He just wanted me to press record and sit there. Phelan called him up and explained step by step how to use the MP3 Skype recorder, which was a simple press of a button. He ended up calling Nash and having him record it. So a YouTuber does not know how to record. This is probably why you shouldn't sign on to companies, because they're not going to give you the skills you need to do the actual job. Oh boy. Yes, yes, it seems to be worse than Kilroy so far. Wow. My gosh. Hmm. But anyways, um during my earlier days on the site, we would have to fight to get the slots for the day. But especially during the holiday, Doug proceeds to hog these slots with his lazy Disney December vlogs. One moment. I want to check something. Nostalgia Critic. Okay, now I want to see their views during December. So December is about 4 months ago. Disney December. Well, now I can somewhat see why, given once I look at them, they actually make somewhat higher amounts of con views than the rest. Now I get why you'd be mad, but I guess I can understand why they do it. They considered conventions a waste of time, despite their contradictory belief that they should all do advertisement locally. They hated when we went to MagFest because of bad experience Doug had there once, despite the fact that we all paid to go there on our own dimes. Okay, okay, yeah, this is sounding a lot like Kilroy, though. I'll be honest. They never wanted anyone to pay anyone. One of the DVDs they had held a cover contest for the fans where they asked Drew Stutson style for $100, plus a link to their DeviantArt on the cover. They were shamed into upping the price to $300. Skits did the soundtrack for the anniversary movies for next to nothing. And Makad was fearing he tried selling the music because if he was under the belief it belonged to them. Okay. Every decision felt self-motivated, uncaring to the other producers. It was the Doug's show. Well, when you look at the content, Nostalgia Critic tends to bring in the most views. So from a business standpoint, it makes sense. Not saying I like the overall idea, but I can get where it's coming from. Pop Quiz and Indiegogo. So they used Indiegogo to crowdfund $90K for their pop culture game show, a comic review show, Awesome Comics, and another game show revolved around video games, The Gaming Gauntlet. 40-something episodes were promised of the Pop Quiz hotspot. CA Films had at least a dozen versions of the pilot and test episodes. Some of them include the same questions and contestants. refilming due to the studio not being sound dampened because of this. They film Nostalgia Critic episodes in the office where it is smaller and there's less echo, which makes sense. I mean, I didn't realize how big of a company Channel Awesome was. Like, I was aware they had a few people under their belt, but I did not realize they were this big. But okay. And quiz shows and stuff. Okay, I guess I don't know what to say to that. I mean, I guess if you're doing well on the YouTubes with the reviews and whatnot, I guess I don't know why you need a quiz show. CA Films at least a dozen versions of the. Oh wait, I think I read that. They tried to rig questions so the contestants would win, but accidentally switched the card so it went in Doug's favor. Doug splits the prize of $100 gift card. Okay, once again, asshole move, but not necessarily the worst thing in the world. They had to be told to have prizes by Holly. The game show was Makad's idea, and no one else wanted to do it. Well, if what I'm seeing so far, he seems to be the boss, so he has the options to say, this is what we're doing. One minute, I'm gonna do something real quick. What's Channel Awesome? Do you know what the Nostalgia Critic is, Jacob? Waiting on the chat idea, but that's what we're doing. Mom's yelling. Great. One minute. Share. Well, it's, I guess, essentially, Channel Awesome is essentially like the company that the Nostalgia Critic belongs to. You never heard of him. Oh boy, how do I explain what Channel Awesome is? Essentially, it's things like a reviewer. There's reviewers, and it's like a sort of. It's basically a company with a bunch of reviewers that is based around YouTube that's been going through some hot water lately, and we're looking at the document, kind of detailing everything. Is it like Red Letter Media? Maybe. I don't know. Honestly, the only thing I would ever watch of them is the occasional Nostalgia Critic review. It's similar to in a way to what is it called? Red. What was it? Rebel Media, in a way where there's a bunch of various creators on one main hub, essentially. That is sort of what Channel Awesome is. Ugh. But yeah, so anyways, let's get back to the article. Indiegogo rewards are 6+ months late. March 15, a year and a half since the show was promised. After Indiegogo threatens to investigate, McCod forces Doug and Rob to release the first episode, which they were all embarrassed about. Okay, thank you all for your concerns at this time. Whatever. After 12 episodes, the show was canceled because it legally covers them as an effort to fulfill. So it's like Anita Sarkeesian's one thing, where they said they were going to do something and they still do it, but much slower than they were supposed to. Interesting. And Awesome Comics began production using the old game show set in March 16 and March 17. I'm not reading 2016 and 2017 because I'm lazy right now. Gonna be perfectly honest. I'm watching Troy Fall of the City right now, and they're making Paris look like the good guy. All right, give me money so I can take an age to do something. Yeah, essentially that's what it sounds like. Oh, and in this case, it's not like, you know what? It's actually worse than the Anita Sarkeesian thing, because at least she did it willingly. According to this, they actually had to be forced to actually fulfill their end of the deal. Let's see. Looking quickly through all my people, seeing if there would be anyone available to jump on right now, because might be good to have someone to bounce things off with. Yeah, fuck it. Oh, wait. Well, one moment. Let me message someone. Oh, okay. Neat, Jacob. You enjoy it. All right, but anyways, channel also paid for travel, lodge, and meals when they were filming hours. Otherwise, we were on your own. Well, at least they did that. They also had to be told to have water on set. We were not paid for our time, nor did we make any revenue from the DVDs. Wow. You're not versed. Well, you know what? There's a link to my Twitter in the description. Click on it and follow me. I'm not sure if you were before. I will shoot you a link because it might be nice to get someone else's perspective on this. I mean, I don't remember if you're actually following me, to be honest. One moment. And to be fair, I'm not really versed in this topic, so don't feel bad. You followed me last week. Well, then, one moment. Oh. You know what might help is if I actually look at the followed section and not the followers section. Well, okay. One moment. Let me see what I can do. Okay, one moment. And one moment. I'm gonna get there. Just gotta go through. Next Tuesday is your birthday. Well then, we're gonna have to do something about it. I propose a gangbang for Jacob. Or maybe a ball gag. Okay, so. Well then, we're gonna have a small army. Yes, we're gonna ball gag Jacob for his birthday. In all seriousness, Jacob, happy early birthday. I hope you enjoy yourself. Oh, is there going to be a gangbang at the restaurant? Okay, I'll stop. Or will I? Oh, and I hear my kitty. One moment, people in the chat. Okay, I sent you the link, William. Now I lost my phone. Hello?
Hi. What is this? I'm trying to get the chat open a different tab.
Okay, I am trying to see what... I seem to have dropped my phone, and I'm trying to see where I dropped it at. Which is an interesting situation. You know, I'll take care of it later, I guess. But anyway, so, you've literally never heard about Channel Awesome.
I have not.
You never heard of the Nostalgia Critic?
It vaguely rings a bell, but I'm not entirely sure.
Interesting. Well, you see, I went into this stream assuming people were at least familiar with it, so I wasn't expecting I would have to actually explain what Channel Awesome was.
And then you have that moment of horror, like, oh crap, how do I do that?
No. But what are you thinking so far from what I have read?
From what I'm seeing, seems like a normal, somewhat shady business so far. Like, it's nothing like absolutely abhorrent, but it's not like, it's kind of like, well, yeah, that's kind of a dick move.
Well, except for the sexual harassment claims.
Yeah, except for that.
Well, unfortunately, there's about 69 pages in this whole thing, so I really doubt we're going to go through the whole thing tonight.
Oh, jeez.
But we're going to go through as much until we get a general feel for what's all going on. But anyway, so I last left off before I had to take care of something at the first thing of the anniversaries. For the second one, we were paid in exposure and a free trip with our friends. So essentially this thing... What?
It doesn't really seem like a good way of being paid, to be honest.
It's the same thing with all those like people who are like artists who expect like who get people who expect them to give them something just because they'll give them exposure.
Yeah. The one girl that I forget who did a video on them not too long ago.
Yeah.
What was it? It was like they went. It'll come to me.
Yeah, but anyways,
Yeah.
we pointed out that exposure didn't mean anything after the first time. No, it really doesn't. Like, once
really
you get
doesn't.
exposed and it doesn't go anywhere, you're kind of fucked. Mike, in particular, liked to state how great it was that they embedded, not hosted our videos and never asked for a cut of our revenue. All right.
Jacob asking in the chat if you heard about Allie's Twitter.
Yes, I am waiting for her to jump on so we can also talk about that. One moment, I need to take care of something quick.
All right, I'll keep them entertained. I don't know
You better,
how,
or you're gonna be fired.
but it's a lot of pressure. Thank you. My nephew just came in. He's told dinner's ready. Yeah, it's gonna be a bit, but. Yeah, this is a good idea, leaving the autist in charge of entertaining people when he's gone.
Okay, I'm back. My cat snuck in.
Cats do that.
Yeah. I just don't want him in right now because he'll cause problems. But anyway, so they never asked for a cut of our revenue. Or they embedded and not hosted, which okay, yeah. And apparently this business has been going on for 10 years, so the fact that it took this long for people to actually speak out is interesting to me.
Yeah, I always wonder about, like, why do you wait to speak out?
Like, at first, if you think you're the only one that's going through it, but I can understand. You know, for all the criticism that I will give the Me Too movement, it does seem to have gotten people to actually speak out about stuff like this a little more often.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the ends justify the means, but to an extent, yeah, it does have people who actually need to speak out speaking out.
Yes, I mean, it does create a witch hunt effect, but at some points, it does do something. And from what I understand, I think Mr. Medicare did do a video about this, so or something related to Channel Awesome not too long ago. So apparently, some of this stuff wasn't unknown knowledge. It's just that this was like brought to the forefront. But anyways, the only thing they asked us to sign contracts for, which covered things such as injury liability. So
makes sense.
If they got, yeah,
they're always having them sign for that.
Yeah. The contract also stated that any crossovers we filmed during the production would go to them to recoup costs. So does that mean, like, because they have various people, like the Nostalgia Critic, there's also a Nostalgia Trick, there's some black person that they have working for them, and various other people.
But not that some black person.
Well, I didn't say some black guy, so don't know where you're going. But does that mean that's what they mean by crossovers? Because if that's the case, yeah, that's kind of crap. Like, I can somewhat argue to understand. However, if it were, like, say, someone outside of their company did a collab with them, then I would actually see an issue. But anyways, so we were asked to work for our privilege to be there, which not only went into what little time we had between filming to rest, but into our work hours at home editing them. Oh boy.
So you're
Now
not
this
getting
is
paid, but you have to do all the work still.
yeah. This is probably why you need to learn how to negotiate good, people.
Mm-hmm.
But to be fair, so far it's like scummy business practices for overall. I mean, I am very surprised that Anita is doing better than these guys.
No, that's surprising to me.
I mean, I never watched Anita's videos, but from what I could tell, she was never forced to actually make them.
Kind of. After a while, people start getting annoyed, and after a certain amount of time, you can't really ignore that.
Well, yes, but like, she wasn't under any legal pressures to make them.
Yeah.
This apparently was the case. They had to actually be forced by law to actually fulfill their end of the bargain. That's why I'm saying Anita Sarkeesian did it better than them.
That's a really low bar to go under, too.
Yes. So okay, and the anniversaries themselves took time out of our normal work. All right, which means it also cost us money that way. Okay.
So you're basically losing money for working with them, which is even worse.
If I don't know how well they were paid on normal cases. If they were really just in their videos were really just embedded and they weren't like hosted and never got a cut of their revenue. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah. I'm gonna just say this right now, even though we're probably not even that. We're probably only a few percents way in, but this is the Fine Bros did better than these guys too.
I'm not sure who those are. That is.
Oh my! How long have you been watching YouTube?
I live under a rock.
Apparently.
I don't get out that much. Basically, up until like a year ago, all I did was watch games on YouTube.
Okay, well, what happened with the Fine Bros is what happened? Oh, they tried to do their own little thing called React World. So in a way, they were somewhat trying to push themselves to get to this point. But in the process, they used the trademarking route. And do you know what they wanted to trademark?
Something that everyone says, I'm guessing.
The word React.
Really? Really?
Yes.
Really? It hurts.
Yeah. So, like, the one thing that so far this stuff isn't doing that the Fine Bros stuff had the potential of doing is, as far as I can tell, this is limited to the Fine Bros, I mean, the Channel Awesome site stuff. Like, it's not going to reflect badly on any other reviewers, necessarily.
Yeah. I wish I had known that now. I would have a few extra brain cells.
Yeah. But, well, the Fine Bros are Jews, according to Jacob, so that explains everything. But anyways, we were allowed to keep commentary tracks we did for our videos, but we got very little views. So, did you do a bad job or what? Like, even if you don't get any, like, promotion or whatever they're, like, didn't really get from Channel Awesome, you're still gonna get a decent chunk of views.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is...
It's like if it's a big company, then they're gonna get views and you're gonna be in the video, so people will be like, I wonder where this person goes. Like that's how I'm subscribed to a lot of people I'm subscribed to right now.
Yeah.
It's because of other videos.
It's the same thing with the whole Rebel Media thing, which is why I drew that comparison. Like, if you watch Rebel Media, you may go check out the other people, although I'm going to place a bet that 75% of people only checked out Lawrence Southern. I'm going to make that claim. If you have reputations, shut up.
Lawrence Southern is literally the only person on there I can think of to name, because I don't really watch them, but still.
I don't think she's even with them anymore, to begin with. So, but yeah. Let's see. So, next category, Suburban Nights.
Awesome name.
So is this like the low rent version of Arabian Nights?
Well, it's in suburban area, so it might be the higher end of it.
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe there will be a parody version. $20 says there's going to be a parody version of Arabian Nights with suburban Nights.
I'm not going to take that bet against you.
Oh my.
Oh yeah, Baked Alaska too, I guess. But I don't really watch Baked Alaska.
Baked Alaska, what?
He
was on Rebel Media?
According to Jacob, he is.
Oh, I didn't know that. But it's kind of... I don't know. Let's see. Doug's style of directing was telling us to do more like him. Well, once again, Doug, who is the nostalgia critic, just to make clear, is the biggest view ranking in person on their channel. It can make sense why you want to do it like him from a business standpoint. Once again, when I'm saying that, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I can understand it from the business standpoint.
Yeah, business standpoint, it's all right, but from like a practical standpoint, it's probably not the best idea, but...
I have no idea. Because, like, if you like Baron and you stumble onto another channel and they do the exact same things as Baron, it's like you may subscribe to them, but it's not like you're going to consider them anything more than a low-rent Baron, right?
A Baron clone.
I prefer using low rent when I'm doing the clone insult.
I've never used clone insult, so I'll take your... I'd say I'd take your thing, but then I'd be a low-rent Vulcan.
Well, to be fair, something I recently found out, there's actually a Marvel character called Emperor Vulcan, except it's got a U instead of a O, so I'm already low-rent.
I tried looking you up, and that's basically all I found, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to my history and try to see if I can find your channel.
Yeah. It was an interesting thing. Like, I'm just searching my name on Google, because I do that every now and then, you know?
Everyone does.
And I see all this other stuff, and I realize, oh, well, that's interesting. I hope I don't get trademark struck or anything like that.
With Marvel, maybe. Might want to have that in your back pocket.
Maybe. But anyways, if we pointed out we wouldn't deliver a line like that, he'd tell us, we'll try it both ways, so we could use the take of us doing it his way. We'll try it both ways became a running joke. So I could imagine some bisexual guy saying that too. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
That's where my head was. Well, I'm like, if he doesn't say it, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna derail. But yeah, I'm the.
Why are we talking about Baron Cab? Okay, but It was embarrassing when we were filming in the park and Doug would start giving directions to passerby like they were part of the production. Well, what? I gotta realize this is probably not a professional company because I think they try and find a more private area of the park.
Yeah. Instead of like hailing down random passersby.
Yeah. It was done with Kikrissa. These people have the weirdest names. They only have one camera with Rob at helm. Okay. This was a larger production with 2 teams. So Lindsay and Ed had a closed-door meeting with them to convince them to use more than one camera. All right. This is... Like, so far, like, yeah, I can get the problems, but so far it's nothing that bad.
Yeah. Just seems more of a nuisance than anything.
Like, yeah, I can get, like, this is none of this is probably how you really want to run a business that you hope lasts a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I don't know. Let's see. Because of this, she never signed a contract. That's probably smart.
Mm-hmm.
When filming a stunt with Orlando, her knee bashed in, and they coerced her into signing a contract saying that says they aren't viable. She doesn't want to do it because it would give them ownership of what she had filmed there. Again, that's how companies work, but I don't know. Like, yeah, that's kind of a scummy thing to do, but once again, not necessarily the worst thing.
Yeah.
Whoa. 4 people were injured during the movie, so no safety precautions were ever put in place. Now that's something they could get sued with.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all kinds of scumbaggy.
Yeah. Especially with, in this case, they didn't sign a contract.
Yeah.
Liz and Bennett were both hurt during stunts with Orlando, and Orlando himself landed on his neck wrong. Okay. This was included in the blooper reel? Okay.
That's kind
I know. I don't always watch the blooper reels, but I always thought the point of them were to show the cases where, like, they didn't get hurt too bad, but they failed. Like, I don't know how seeing someone landed on his neck wrong or having their knee bashed in is humorous.
Yeah. Like, it's kind of like it's funny because they can get up and walk it off, but
yeah,
if they can't get up and walk it off, it's not really funny.
Okay, well, Elsa was taped to the wall in a cross position, and because she's there for so long, she nearly passed out. Edited after a correction from Alyssa. Okay.
I think we spoke too soon on our this isn't that bad thing.
No. The weather was cold, and some people like Ben had flimsy costumes, so higher-ups were worried about us. They had a meeting where they asked us if we wanted to make an improvised mockumentary and shoot it indoors, but we unanimously voted to keep going. There was a sense of camaraderie that was completely absent from Too Boldly Flee. So in this case, it seems like that was on them. Also, I'm just realizing this is probably a title of a movie.
Mockumentary? Something. Okay. So it is a blooper, basically. Yeah. Not blooper, a parody, basically.
It gonna say, well, it's probably not a parody of Aladdin or Arabian Nights, but it's something.
We can do it. Well, we can't do it now because the name's already taken, but we could have done it.
Can Suburban Nights.
Well, can you use the same name for other things? Or is that like a... I don't know how that works.
I think it depends on the company. Some things you want to be cautious with. If it's from Fox, you want to be very careful with. If it's certain things, like, say, Disney, you may be able to get away with it more since that Cocktail song has never been taken down.
We could do it. We just gotta find the actors.
Yeah. And if you can get permission from the company, I'm sure. Like, given this is an internet company and they've had to deal with copyright themselves, I'm sure they wouldn't be too copyright happy, but I don't know. I don't know.
I'm already putting it together in my head right now.
I really want someone to do a parody of Arabian Nights calling it Suburban Nights or something. I'm sorry. That sounds so cool. And I don't have a good singing voice, so I can't do it.
Me either. I know people who could do it, but I couldn't do it.
Okay. To Boldly Fly. The point to Boldly Fly as a tipping point between maybe they'll change and this is never going to get better. Different experiences during reading the script versus Suburban Night. This felt long, self-indulgent, sexist, and mean. Okay. Scenes were just quoting other movies verbatim were embarrassing. Well, that's kind of lazy.
Yeah.
Excessive scenes with Zod and Terrell were infuriating and ate up time that could have been focused on the producers and not more of Doug's shtick. Again, biggest person on the site. He's probably going to get the most screen time.
Mm-hmm.
I never received a Boldly Flee DVD. Okay, I don't know how this works usually, but if you're doing the thing for a movie, do you get the DVD usually?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Like, say the people who do the Avengers, do they actually get to have a DVD copy?
I mean, you would think they would, but I'm not sure if you would.
Like, I thought that was just the assumed point, but if that's not the case, wow.
I guess like it depends on like how big of a company and how big of an actor you are and all that.
Well, even so, if you're giving your time to help them out with a movie, I think you're entitled to that.
True.
Neither did many of the fans who bought it. Okay, because they messed up the orders and it was never fixed. So okay, yeah. The crossovers to recoup costs were not required, and during To Boldly Flee were so absurdly overscheduled that we were too exhausted and annoyed to make them. Okay. Like, I don't know. Like, it's really coming to a point where, like, I get where the issue is, but at the same time, this isn't the sort of thing that I would say would kill a company necessarily if you found out they were doing it, most of the cases. I mean, this would definitely make you give them a hairy eye or something, but
yeah, it's not like it's not like they made a movie and then just didn't give every. Well, no, I guess that doesn't work with movies. Never mind. I was gonna say, like with games, sometimes you'll get like you'll give the company money to make the game, and then either A, they just take the money and run, or B, they don't deliver.
Or they make a game where you have to wait to get the whole thing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't think this is one of those situations, so I think it's different with movies.
Yeah, I don't see how you could give someone half a movie and tell them you're going to get it later. Can you imagine that? If a company actually... Could you imagine a company trying that? We're going to give you this half of this movie. You're going to have to watch it all, then wait for a bit.
I mean, they split the Hobbit book into 3 movies, so maybe.
But, really, okay. Let's see. McCod and Doug try and guilt crossovers to cover... Oh, wait, I read that. We make a stand and tell them no, eventually coming to an agreement that we'll make 2 crossovers and keep running. I threw out the script of the crossover I was planning with Brad.
Brad.
Okay. And some of these cases seems like it's actually on the people complaining themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some of it seems like if you planned it a little better, you'd probably be in a better position.
Yeah. Poor planning only leads to poor results.
Yeah. Scripts were given out until the 11th hour because Doug and Rob were fighting over it the whole time. We barely had, most people didn't. Okay. Again, bad. We only had about a week to film this 4-hour movie?
Wow.
Would you watch a 4-hour movie?
Some of the movies I have watched are pretty long, but I'm not sure I've ever had anything that's been 4 hours.
I haven't either. I didn't know they made movies that long.
I think 3 hours is about the longest I've seen.
Yeah.
What's... trying to think what movie was that long.
Star Wars? Star Wars, Lord of the Rings.
I think it was Lord of the Rings was that long. Not 4 hours, like 3 hours.
Well, that was their mistake, making it a 4-hour movie.
Yeah.
Especially to do it in a week. Like, if it were... Like, I would say it would still be unreasonable, but if it were a 2-hour movie, it'd at least be more understandable.
Yeah, it would still kind of suck. The Godfather, that's what it was. Those are long movies.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah. What is Jacob saying anyways? I haven't actually been paying too much attention to the chat so far. But anyways, as Holly begged them for extra days, every day Doug scheduled 2 days worth of work because he assumed having proper equipment and crew would make things go faster. So he's an idiot.
Yeah.
No one was informed Doug was killing off the nostalgia critic. Most of us only found out if we... One moment. Someone's calling. One moment.
Elevator music. At least you can find your phone.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the feeling get there, by the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna answer this call, sort of thing.
Alright.
Okay, what happened while I was away?
Well, get there.
Can I
I
stop?
was trying to think of something, but my brain just like, nope. Oh,
Hey!
we have the balls. We have the Harlequin.
Yeah, it worked.
The
Hooray!
person who I've given slave driver privileges in my Discord server.
Slave
I've been
driver.
given slave driver privileges in your Discord.
Yes.
What
Nice.
a turn of events. Now you're the one cracking the whip.
It's so good.
Because, jeez, I don't know. In the past.
Oh, I thought you were referring to my sex life because I'm a submissive, but I
That
guess
too.
I might have jumped the gun there. All right. I switched.
Okay.
That too.
So, Allie, I
So I got
believe you have something.
I got the appeal back on my Twitter, and
And
it was denied. But it said for however long, like they were going to leave it limited for however long the term was, but it's permanently suspended. So I don't know if I'm just going to write support and ask and see.
so
Because like it didn't give me a time limit on the suspension, and you know, back in the day it used to be like 3 days and they called it suspension. I think suspension now is permanent though. But it was worded really ambiguously. It was worded like your account will be limited. It didn't say your account will be suspended or banned. But right now I cannot access anything on my account. So
the world was limited, meaning
we shall see. I will send support an email, and I will let support know that the tweet that was flagged was actually a tweet on which somebody who goes by the name of Super Barrio decided to get a bug up his ass because he was like trying to fuck this other girl, Buttercup, and you know, he came at my Twitter because I told Liz Reptile that she was a lol cow, and so he came at me all sassy, and I asked him, I don't know, I asked him if he was still ready to suck Seeps' dick or something, and they said it was hate speech.
How?
I don't know. I think it's pretty stupid. I mean, I think it's pretty stupid, but You know,
You're promoting gay pride. How is that hate speech? It's more hate
right?
speech to censor you.
I think it's totally fine. I want to suck his dick too. So I mean, clearly, how could that even be a bad thing? That's totally a compliment.
Out, Paul.
I put him in the same category as I put myself. Steep's dick suckers. You know.
Except only one of them would probably be allowed by seats.
Only one.
There could be only one.
So I mean, I guess yes, I'm Queen Thought. So you know, there you go. But yeah, so that's what happened.
Wow.
Which it's like a really weird tweet. But then I also got a tweet flagged last. I think it was January. I was suspended for 7 days for calling Jews oven people. I was talking to Rory, and he said something about over there. I don't know. He was using, and it looked like he spelled oven. So I was like, "There's no oven people here," and somebody flagged it as being offensive to Jews, and yeah, so I got banned off Twitter.
Wow.
Oven people.
I just I mean, the tweets that get suspended are so fucking stupid. Like, they are the worst. Like, they're so much worse. And like, there are so many people on the internet who think I'm alt-right. They're like, you're an alt-righter, and I'm like, I'm not even really a right. I'm right-leaning, I guess.
I don't even know what your position is. I just know that you don't like the extremes of either end.
Yeah, I take a little from here, a little from there. If it makes sense to me, then
yeah,
that's what I go with. And I don't. Everybody's like, "Oh, you're just a straight party line Republican voter," and that's not true. Because the first time I ever voted, I voted for Ralph Nader. I wrote him in. I wrote in.
What was that?
Ralph Blinky Nader. He was the leader of the Green Party for a while, I think. He had he had a really weird way of blinking, but he ran. He and Ross Perot ran like every year on a third-party ticket, and everybody just laughed at them. So I wrote him in the first year I could vote because it was McCain Obama, and I was like, I don't care either way. Like, I don't like John McCain, and I didn't like Barack Obama. I was like, I don't really know much about him, but I don't really like what he's saying, so I'll just write in Blinky, and that's what I did. I wrote Ralph, and then I wrote quotes Blinky Nader, and that was my contribution.
What if he
to
didn't
American
understand what
politics
you
that
meant by that, and that could have been a vote to actually get him noticed?
What if people just started calling him Blinky all the time?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a worse nickname.
It's because he had, I mean, it's kind of mean, but he had a really weird way of blinking. Like, he would blink one eye way more than the other, and it was highly noticeable.
That's
so
odd.
I just kept calling him Blinky.
I'm just picturing this in my head now. It's odd.
Yeah, and my the first time anybody I knew could vote, I was 16 and I was dating. My boyfriend was 19, and he was going to vote, and I was like, "Oh my God, you have to vote for Nader!" And we sat on the couch and watched the news and watched all the polls and stuff, and like I was so excited. And they're like, "Nader 2%," and the two of us were like, "Yeah!" Like, the dumbest shit ever. But yeah, so that's been my contribution to American politics. So I like when people pigeonhole me and they're like, "You're definitely alt-right." I'm like, I'm a Jew, right? Like,
it's counterproductive. It's like being an Islamist and a feminist. It's not going in your best interest.
Doesn't really work in the ethno state. Just saying. They get pretty mad. Or like, some guy on there was calling me a racist because they're like, "I can't believe everybody's so sad that she's gone because she's a racist and this, that, and the other." And I'm like, "You do know that?" Do you know that I'm Jewish? 1, and 2, my boyfriend isn't Aboriginal. Like,
and you have your
he has the blackest cock I've ever seen. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure that I'm not a racist. Just saying.
Ow. Okay, we're good.
Wow.
My computer was doing something. I was freaking out. I'm sorry.
But so what do you think you're gonna do now without the Twitters?
I've been on Gab. I've been tweeting a lot on Gab, or I guess gabbing a lot on Gab because it's not really tweeting. But
I've been
yeah, that I'm
Twitter.
still on. I'm still on Instagram. And I have Snapchat. So, I mean, I have all the other social medias.
And Discord.
I'll probably and I have Discord. Yeah, so I'll probably just be more active on them,
Yeah,
until
that won't be too
I can get Twitter to lift me. Or I suppose I could always get a VPN and...
Like everyone's been telling you to.
I know. Yeah. Undoomed yelled at me. It's fine.
He did.
Not a big deal. He's
Well,
like,
here's
why
a
don't you have a
question.
VPN? And I'm like, I'm lazy. Sorry.
Well, yeah,
Lexi said the same thing. She's like, download Aloha, it's free. And I was like, that's just another one I'm going to have to learn.
Here's a question. Is it actually worth, is Twitter worth getting back on for you?
I mean, I know a lot of people on Twitter that I care very deeply about. There are a lot of shitheads on Twitter.
Boobs has been pretty upset.
I mean, that's pretty much how it is. But I've enjoyed using the platform. I've been networking on it for 5 years. I actually managed to the Twitter profile that was killed was actually followed by a lot of big name journalists, and like Sean Hannity and Jesse Jane Duff, and a few decent individuals. And I worked really hard on it, so it's kind of shit for somebody to just flag it, but that's what they do.
Can you imagine those guys scrolling through their Twitters, they're seeing all this serious stuff, and then they see you making a Jew joke or something?
Oh yeah, well I get a lot of I get a lot of DMs about how they like that I'm not PC and that I retweet some news that's interesting and pertinent, but that I'm sassy, and they like to hear my take on it, and that so it's kind of interesting. I mean, it's cool, and like I said, I mean, I worked really hard. I think some people are jealous and think that I'm whatever, miss popularity or something, but it's called being interesting. All you have to do is get a fucking personality.
I was just gonna say. That's why I don't have
people a lot of will. You have a personality.
Like you.
You're fun. I'm a very outgoing person, and if I want to talk to somebody, I just I at them. I'm like, hey, da-da-da. There was this lawyer on there not too long ago who was tweeting some things about injustice or whatever. Sorry, there's this recall on my steering column, and there's a piece of it that's loose, and I haven't been able to get an appointment to fix that yet. So if it's rattling, it's some weird steering column. It's like a washer in there. It makes a lot of noise. But
yeah,
I've been, I don't know, he was tweeting about some other deal, and I was interested to hear his take on, he was a lawyer that gets people off, an appeals lawyer. So he does wrongful convictions. And I was curious to get his thoughts on the Daniel Holtzclaw case. So I just added him. I mean, the guy's got 1 million followers, and I was like, hey, I'd love to pick your brain about the Holtzclaw case. What do you think? And he responded back to it. And I mean, that's just how you meet people. If you want to meet somebody, then go and meet them. You don't, whatever. But I mean, that's
wait for them to meet you.
Yeah, that's an entirely different. I think that's the same thing with dating. Is a lot of women like to stand in the shadows and be noticed, as opposed to being like, hey, I like that person, let me go over there and say something. Yeah. And in today's political climate, it's really hard for women, it's really hard for, a man to approach a woman, because you never know if she's got fucking bear mace in her purse, and some fat fuck feminist told her the best idea for her is to go get some bear mace, and if anybody approaches you in a bar, just unleash hell. So they just don't approach anybody anymore, and that's something that's been done by the political climate. And if you want to go get a date, don't sit on your ass in front of the TV watching Netflix and crying about Grey's Anatomy. Go out there and meet somebody, I don't know. I guess I have a different philosophy than most people. But I don't believe in this whole popularity crap. It's first of all, my account, I followed back. So I had 2,750 followers, but I followed a good 2,640 back. So if they were worth a shit, I would, I'd follow back, and then I would see their tweets and they'd see my tweets, and that's just how that works. with following back. When I started on Twitter, it was 2012, and I was part of the Romney campaign, so I was campaigning for him because I really didn't like Barack Obama and I wanted him gone. I thought the best way to do it was to go campaign for Romney. And I met a lot of people on the hashtag TCOT, which is Top Conservatives on Twitter. And they did this like Follow Friday. So somebody would at you and say like, follow this person, and you would just at them and follow them and whatever. And you build up your repertoire, and eventually you just had like a shit ton of people. But once I started YouTube, it was more like, nope, not everybody followed back everybody else because it was clogging up the timelines. And to me, I just didn't care because it was interesting to me to read everything, and I would usually see like a bunch of people. Sometimes it was weird because I would get like randomly like just only one person's tweets all day. And that would just be like how it was. But for the most part, like I would see everybody's tweets and I'd be able to like just see a bunch of new interesting things. And if somebody had something to show me, then they would just shoot me a DM and be like, hey, I tweeted this, and I would look at it. And I don't know. So, but like once I started the YouTube crowd, they don't really like follow back everybody. So there's like a huge like disparity in their follows versus follower numbers. And I made friends with a lot of those guys because they were interesting and funny, and I would at them. And like when I watched their videos, I would put their video up. All mine's manual because my YouTube wasn't linked to my Twitter. So I would copy the link and tweet it out to my followers, and I would tag them in it, and I would add a comment, like something that I thought about the video. And that's how I met most of those guys. Like I wasn't going out trying to find anybody. I just was like, hey, this video is interesting. Here's a, a brief blurb. Like this is my review of the video. And, it's by this person on Twitter, and you can check out their page or whatever. And that's how that worked.
And then you have people like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even remember
and then,
why. I just remember you seemed interesting, so I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna follow this person.
I'm always full of something, usually piss and vinegar.
But anyways, yeah. So, Allie, are you familiar with the channel Awesome? Because I found I actually have to make sure of this.
Because I live under a rock.
No, I wasn't aware of the channel Awesome.
You
I thought that
never
was my
hear
channel,
of this?
to be honest.
Okay, are you familiar with the Nostalgia Critic?
No.
Gosh dang it!
It's not just me.
How is it that I went into this stream assuming people were at least familiar with the channel?
I mean,
Let's start the stream.
You know that I don't know anything about anything, ever. I'm in my own world most of the time. I just,
Oh, I know, but I thought your own world would at least copy with this or something.
Under the
It would
rock
at least
buddies for the win.
include what?
Yes. It would at least have included knowledge of this, but anyways, essentially it's a, conglomeration
I create enough of my own drama. Do I really need to know about everybody else?
Here's a point.
No, but I don't know. But
my
anyways,
drama is more interesting and inflammatory.
Probably.
I'm dropping a video, so it should be interesting.
You're gonna lay out the whole situation?
Correct. I feel like I got railroaded a little bit.
Do you want to say anything to any certain people here to burn any bridges?
Oh, I don't want to burn any bridges for you. I mean, I already burnt my bridges. They are light and they are nuclear, and they will go fucking nuclear when I drop this video. Because I don't take kindly to being threatened, whether that's a direct threat because you have balls, or whether that's an indirect threat because you don't. And so if they want to continue to threaten me, that's totally fine. But I got a lot of screenshots before my Twitter was nuked. So, and I'm really not afraid to make anybody look like a crazy motherfucker. So there you go.
It never happened. But anyways,
Sorry.
what me and Will have overall come to a conclusion with stuff is that it's a bunch of bad business choices. But this is some drama that people have been making a big deal about, so I wanted to talk about it.
So what exactly happened? This Channel Awesome and some critic channel?
Basically, it's a conglomeration of critics in a similar way how, like, somewhat similar to Rebel Media in the sense that there's a bunch of, like, various personalities attached to one central hub.
Okay.
That's the best comparison I can draw to it. But anyways, what happened is some people started speaking out about bad business stuff that happened with them. Some of it came down to the people should negotiate better, and some came down to the fact that the people responsible don't know what the heck they're doing.
Oh, with passing money back and forth?
Well, look
the
things they're doing with the business.
Apparently, we have come to the consensus that these guys handled their stuff worse than Anita Sarkeesian did.
Which is a really bold statement, but a true statement.
Okay.
Because at least, like, they apparently promised they would do something. Yeah, but anyways, apparently they promised they would do something for an Indiegogo, and they actually had to be threatened to actually follow through. Well, Anita Sarkeesian at least did do it willingly. But anyways, let's get back to where we were last. And I'm going to skip ahead a few because this one is the one I was actually interested in.
Also, we decided that we have to do an Aladdin parody called Suburban Nights.
Yes, let's get Seeps in here. I want to ask him if he'd be willing to do that.
Just have him be Aladdin.
To do a song from Aladdin? Actually, I think Jason Brazil already asked him to do one of the Aladdin songs.
We're doing
well, essentially, do you remember the song of Arabian Nights from Aladdin?
Yes. Well, that's
we wanted him.
I think it was a different
Well,
song.
essentially, what we're wanting to have happen is someone to do a parody of Arabian Nights.
Of Arabian Nights.
Called Suburban Nights.
Suburban Nights. I mean, I could talk to the man. He'll be awake again at 11, so. Yeah.
Come on, you can't act like that wouldn't be of interest.
I mean, I think anything he does is interesting. I was really sad that Swiftler got flagged because that was my favorite.
Oh, I heard about that.
But they flagged that one too. So it didn't really do anything. Like, it didn't take it down or anything. It just made it less easy to see on the internet because he was getting crazy searches like all the time. Anytime anybody would search Taylor Swift, it would pop up. Because the title was Taylor Swift is literally Hitler. So, like, I mean, we were surprised it lasted as long as it did, but it was also pretty funny.
So, okay, so apparently the guy who does the Nostalgia Critic stuff is named Doug, but he apparently asked if he could use a joke where Todd was stalking some person, apparently Allison Pragers. I'm calling her that because I don't know how to pronounce her last name. And his version was apparently me being a cold, heartless vacuum for turning down my stalker. I go on a date with him by the end, which is apparently a scene for a movie. And other than that, we were never asked for our input on the movie scripts. There was a scene in the script where it implies that Mekakara.
Is this that Rick and Morty guy that you're talking about? I'm lost.
No, this is a different thing, although it's similar somehow.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like the same. All these guys got the same game plan.
Yeah, it's still bad business and probably not the type of people you want to hang out with, but so far it's nothing yet that is like illegal or whatever necessarily. I mean, you can argue something like nothing like sexual assault illegal or whatever. Like there are some things that you could probably get sued for if you did this, but other than that, not. But apparently it implies there was a scene with Mekakara, which is the weirdest name ever, but I like saying it, Mekakara. That sounds like a Digimon name. Is implied to be raped off screen, which the way I stand on it is you agree to do the movie, you agree to do the scenes they have written for you.
Right.
In real life, this is apparently a small like company sort of thing, so it's not like they would have enough people to have do stunt doubles.
I mean, you could always ask for a script review, and you could refuse to do it.
Well, apparently they were only given about a week to film this 4-hour movie.
Wow. Yeah. I'm sure it was quality stuff.
I have never heard of a 4-hour movie, to be honest. Can you think of it 4 hours that wasn't a porno?
Lord of the Rings, the extended ones.
Yeah, the extended ones go on for a while.
I don't actually know what the runtime is on them, though. How do pornos last 4 hours? They're so long, it's crazy. I guess because you could watch it in shifts. Because like once you finish, you just pause it and then start it up at the scene that you missed. Like so, you're just like, I'll start this in the middle. Like I don't know.
I mean, that's kind of how you have to do it.
Well, I watched one that Pirates of the Caribbean parody.
We know this story.
I do.
It's so fucking long. Oh my god. And I kept trying to follow the plot because there was a plot. And, like, the whole time I'm trying to follow this stupid plot, like, the fucking assholes kept fucking each other. And I'm like, like, I got so mad. I was like, wait, what happened with the other couple? And then the plot would get, like, off point because they were fucking. And then I guess the writer was just like, and a fuck scene. And then where were we again? I don't remember. We'll just start something else. And it was driving me insane.
We don't know where
normal people watch. Yeah, the people that I talk to here on board with porn and watch it for very strange reasons.
Yeah, most people watch porn for the fuck scenes, and I'm like in there watching it for the plot.
I think I remember we had someone on there here who watched it to laugh at it.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty bad acting, but like I did get into the story, and I was happy that the Chief War won the boat. Or whatever. She's cool. She's pretty hot. I was like, yeah, she's hot. Blonde like me. Go blondes. Woo. That was
okay. Well,
yeah, but I was happy with it. I think she ended up sucking a dick in the last scene. Like she was like, now she's the captain, and she walks in and she's like, I'm your captain. Now take down your pants. And then starts sucking dick. I was like, I don't know if that's the move I would go for when I was captain, to take my first mate's dick in my mouth. But, I mean, I guess if that's how you feel you assert dominance,
okay.
I don't know. It was really weird.
Anyways, she and Lewis had to fight with them to set to say that they wouldn't do it as scripted, so they essentially got it changed. Like, so far, I can get why that might make you uncomfortable, but at the same time, it's still the movie you agreed to do. You kind of have to deal with the scenes they give you. And
I don't get why it made her uncomfortable. I don't get why it made her uncomfortable. Emma Solkowitz did it.
Yeah, and it's not like they're actually getting raped. Is this going to be a new thing where, like...
Well, no, Emma Solkowitz filmed a porno, an art project of her getting raped. Like, she did a reenactment. Did you not see this? How the fuck did you not see this?
I heard about that.
Oh my god, I watched it. It was painful. It was awful. It's like the worst thing I've ever seen.
But here's a question. Are actresses and actors now going to start saying the scenes where they get raped in movies are actual rape?
Don't give them ideas.
God.
Yeah, somehow that's not the craziest thing I think they would do.
I guess not, because you sign a consent when you sign a contract and you agree to it. Mm. So, I mean, they literally have you on paper saying fair. It's okay. So.
And apparently Doug did not understand that it came off as offensive. Okay.
Being raped?
No, for having something implies that someone's being raped off screen.
Oh, I mean, I don't necessarily think it's offensive.
Yeah.
Right.
There's tons of movies where that happens. It's uncomfortable for the viewer, but it's supposed to be.
I feel like this is one of those situations where it's more of a person writing the thing having a problem than the actual people having a problem.
There's a scene in A Clockwork Orange where they break into a house and beat up the man and like hogtie the woman. I want to say they hogtie her. I haven't seen that movie in a while. So somebody, and they rape her, and it was very uncomfortable, but it was supposed to be. That was the point. So when you watch it, you're like, ugh, these are the kind of people that they are. And then he goes through whatever treatments and all this other crap, and you're like, no. But I mean, it's supposed to be like, it's not supposed to be comfortable. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. It's the whole point. Art imitates life and stuff, and you're supposed to make sure that it does imitate life. And that
I can understand it's comfortable for the people actually doing the roles, but
there's one. It's called A Time to Kill, and I want to say it's based on a Patterson novel. I think it's Patterson. Or it might be John Grisham. I'm not sure. I always screw them up. But it's about a dad who murdered a man who raped his child. And they don't show the rape because it's a kid, but they show them, I think, grabbing her and beating her and pissing on her and tossing her into a ditch. So when he goes on a rampage in the courthouse, it's these good old white boys. It takes place in the South. It's a fantastic movie. It was a fantastic book. Lost train of thought. They show all this so that when he goes into the courthouse to kill these good old white boys who are going to get off, or might have gotten off with what they did, you as an audience member watching that understand why that happened, because then a lawyer comes and defends him and gets him off and whatever, because you have to see
I know
those
the movie
things.
You're talking about.
Yeah, you have to see those things in order to create that emotive response. So yes, it's uncomfortable. It was extremely uncomfortable to watch two grown adult white men piss on a small black girl. I think she was supposed to be like 11 or something in that.
But that's the point.
And that was the point, was that you would understand the motivation for the father to kill this person, and you would understand that, you know, this is a horrible thing and what position he is in, and you would want him to overcome whatever charge he was being charged with. So I mean, like, I don't understand. Like, yes, of course it's uncomfortable, and I'm sure it was uncomfortable to film. And I'm totally on board if you are filming a scene like that maybe you need to talk to somebody afterwards, because there are a lot of people who get really into your acting, and it feels real and it hurts, and that's good because it means you're good at what you do. But that doesn't mean that you get to be like, ugh, we should never do these types of scenes again, because that's part of what they're trying to tell you of teaching people not to rape. When you see something like that on a screen and you're instantly disgusted by it, and it's real for you because you can see it happening, that's how you teach people not to rape. I mean, outside of looking at them and saying, don't rape. Because that type of instinctual response is something that is burned into someone's memory, and they're not going to want to do it. But as far as I'm concerned, if you're a rapist and you want to rape someone, you're going to do it regardless of whether or not you sit in a Feminist 101 do not rape class or not.
Criminals are going to break the law no matter what you tell them.
Oh no, I didn't rape her because I have my certificate. It says certified non-rape certificate. Like, I mean, the whole premise of teaching someone not to rape is fucking stupid, but you do that by your societal values. Obviously, we're all disgusted by rape. If we weren't all disgusted by rape, then these types of things wouldn't make us uncomfortable.
And they also
Stopping doing something because it makes you uncomfortable isn't okay. Being uncomfortable isn't an excuse. I'm sorry. There are tons of people who are uncomfortable talking to people, but at some point you will have to get a job. You will have to fill out an application for welfare. You will have to fill out an application to get you have to talk to a person.
Yeah.
At some point in your life, you will have to talk, and as uncomfortable as you are, it's not an excuse to not do those things.
It's what has to be done.
Right. I mean, I get it. Everybody has their issues. Everybody has their problems. But at some point, just because you're uncomfortable, you can't make the excuse, I'm uncomfortable, so I'm not going to do something. Because you're missing out on a lot of experiences that way anyway. I've never accepted that as an excuse. I don't know. Maybe it's the way I was raised.
Unless it's like skydiving or something, that I can understand, but that's basically, stuff like that is the only thing I can think of where that being an excuse.
When I was little, I was 3 years old when I started playing soccer, and every practice my parents would hold my hand because I was too scared. And I'm 3 years old. It's very little. It's very little to start a sport. It's very little to be involved with anything. I never went to school. I went and did gymnastics from the time I was little and dance, but I never, I'd never been around that many children before. My gymnastics school is like 5 other kids or some crap, and here's a full soccer team of boys mostly, and my gym class was all girls, and my parents would hold my hand, and my coach was kind of mean and loud, and it was scary. But then it was game time, and I said, okay, well, let's go. And I grabbed my parents' hands and I was like, let's go on the field. And they were like, we cannot hold your hand, so this is your choice. You can go on the field and play your game with your friends on your team, or we can go home. But you don't get to come back. And the choice that you made, you didn't want to play t-ball, you wanted to play soccer. Daddy doesn't know anything about soccer. He's not really thrilled that you're playing soccer, but here you are. Like, your choice is you get on that field or you come home and you never go back. So if you want to be a quitter, then let's go home. If you want to go out and help your team win a game, then you need to go out there and we'll be waiting for you afterwards. And I went out on the field and I had a lot of fucking fun. And I played soccer until I was 19 and my knees gave out. I was 15 when I tore my ACL. I was 16 when I had surgery. And I ended up with a rescinded Olympic invitation. I busted my ass. I loved that game. So imagine what you do if you use the excuse, I'm uncomfortable, to stop doing things. Well, I never would have had the experiences that I had, and I never would have fallen in love with a sport like I did. So it's just not a fucking excuse. You just have to get out and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to agree with you after that. I still don't think
I get it. Those scenes make everybody uncomfortable. That's what happens. I was very uncomfortable when I tore my ACL, but you know what? I got up and tried to get back in the game.
Apparently, there was a fight scene where a person who was doing like this movie was uncomfortable as well.
How are you going to be uncomfortable with a fight scene?
If Viggo Mortensen can get naked around a bunch of knives and fight in a locker room, no one should be uncomfortable in the fight scene. You could see everything. He was like doing somersaults and stuff. You could see all of everything, the whole Viggo. I was like, oh God. That made me uncomfortable. And I think it made anybody who viewed that uncomfortable.
You're probably more uncomfortable than he was.
Yeah. Well, like, he's in the locker. I don't know if you... It was the movie Eastern Promises. And he was in a locker room and he was just like chilling after, I guess, a workout or whatever. He was in the sauna. I don't know. And two guys dressed all in black start attacking him, and he's just naked in there. And he just like starts taking out, and you see everything. He's like flipping over benches, and you're like, oh my goodness, like, whoa. Hey, buddy. And like, that was the point though, because they were, it was a movie about the Vori Zacconi, and I want to say it was in England actually. And there were Russian mobs there because Naomi Watts was in it. And they were doing all this trading of like Russian prostitutes. And anyway, but I mean, it was supposed to make you uncomfortable because it was like, these are bad guys. They're doing bad things. You're like,
yeah.
They'll attack you if you're naked. And you're like, oh my God.
Let's see. I'm skipping ahead through these because some of these don't seem like that much of a big deal as they want to make it out to be.
I just think everybody needs to take a chill pill and stop being so crazy.
Yeah. Or grow a pair.
Getting bored with this collection, and I'm just gonna see. Well, you know what? I'm gonna skip back up where I saw where they seem to have some sort of like chapter thing. Apparently, this is so big. Oh, this is her name, Alison Pregler. We're going to go to the fan document. In interest of transparency, we removed this link to the fan document. We'd like all the information to we support to be verified. Use the extra attention received. More stories are coming out, and we don't have any way of verifying fan submissions. Because of this, we cannot, in good conscience, continue to link this into a living document. Okay.
It's interesting.
You know what? Let's go through the conclusion because I'm like everything else in this, like either didn't amount to that much bad or wasn't that interesting, you know? Like, yeah, I can overall say it's a worse situation than that whole Fine Bros situation. Please tell me you know about that, Allie.
Which one?
Fine Bros? With the React channel stuff?
Yeah.
You remember that whole biz?
You're roboting really bad. I can't hear you. I'm sorry. I don't know if that's me or not.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, do you remember the Fine Bros drama?
No.
Oh my.
I'm
Basically,
sorry.
what happened is the Fine Bros tried to do a sort of company thing like this, where they were going to call it React World, which is basically a company dedicated to reaction videos.
Okay.
And they tried to do a little trademarking. Do you want to know the word they wanted to trademark?
Liberalist.
Close, but no, they tried to trademark the word React.
They tried to trademark the word React.
Yes.
I mean, they could trademark the word React, but they'd have to like trademark it spelled differently, like R3 capital A.
No, they tried to just
CT.
do it like with straight React.
Like the Daniel guy, you could pick the word Daniel. So, only this is a lot stupider. Maybe.
I mean, if they change
Like,
the way that it's
like work because there's business practices, but at least this is more limited to what happens with the company. But anyways, the above.
Yeah, Le Chateau,
Okay.
Le Chateau Chat. Come here. Goodbye.
That Ollie.
No, that was Tiger. Oliver's here though. Hi, Ollie. He's
Well,
being
anyways.
mad because I didn't spend the night at my house last night, so he's frustrated. Yeah, he's upset with
The
me.
above stories were
What's the matter?
written to the best of our knowledge and recollection. Our belief is that Channel Awesome CEO Mike McCod, that's what I've been pronouncing it, has not had the best interest of anyone but himself in mind in the management of the company. And that Doug, Rob, and have also done little to show they are concerned with the rest of the contributors of Channel Awesome. While there are many instances, one or all three of these parties have simply been complicit in the dealings. And other instances show that they have been directly involved with our mismanagement, and in some cases, egregious mistreatment. Okay? Our stories are many and varied, from content creator to content creator, and yet many stories also mirror one another's experiences. We believe that making these statements in regards to Channel Awesome, that we are largely doing something that we believe morally correct, and we hope that you have also read above as, oh, what the heck? Go back to where you were. Okay, where was I? And we also hope that these have been beneficial in your decisions to support any number of content creators. And above all else, I hope you learn from our stories, and you, as a reader, do not find yourself in situations similar to those that we have already experienced. It's not necessary for you to remain in a situation that makes you uncomfortable simply so you can provide entertainment or other kinds of media. We thank you for the time that you have taken to read our stories, and we wish you well in all of your future endeavors. So overall, I'm going to say it's a big hullabaloo about nothing.
My feelings. Ouch.
My feels.
Like, overall, I can see why people are mad. I can definitely see that, but at the same time, I find very little to really care.
Yeah.
Ugh. I need to put some WD-40 on that door.
In many of these cases,
could you not hear the door creaking?
I heard it.
Yes. Like, many of those cases seemed like cases where the people should have been a little smarter with the way they signed their contracts.
Yeah. there was only like a handful that you can actually like ping on the company for doing something they shouldn't.
A lot of things, like the company also screwed up, but
Yeah.
Mm.
oh. Anyways, and what else has happened?
Well, I would fill you in on the latest drama on Twitter, but
Oh, by the way,
oh
I'm.
god, no.
By
You
the
know
way,
what's
I'm.
crazy is my Gab is so lit now. Like, I forgot I had that fucking thing, and someone's like, why don't you just get on Gab? And I was like, oh yeah, I have that. I already have 100 followers on my Gab.
I have to make one just to follow her.
I'm like, yes. Hashtag Gab party.
Let's see.
Yeah, but also me and a friend were actually talking to Allie when she got suspended, so that was kind of crazy.
Yeah, which is weird because like I could see you guys responding to DM, like I could see you guys in the DM. It didn't boot me out like right away, so I responded back. I was like, I'm right here, and then it was like cannot send message, and I'm like, God damn it, it's one of those like app things, and you're like, yeah, I can't pull up her profile. I think she's suspended, and so you guys actually told me I was suspended before Twitter did.
Poor cat was freaking out. She's like, oh god, I didn't get the number. Oh god.
Oh no. Well, there's like a billion ways to get in touch with me, so I wouldn't let anybody.
Yeah. I gave her the number. Don't worry.
Cool. Yeah, I text her. It's crazy because there's so many ways to get in touch with me, and like Twitter was the easiest because anybody could send me a DM. I just left it open. You know, there wasn't any.
Yeah.
You know, any block on my DMs or whatever, unless I blocked you, in which case, I mean, I blocked a bunch of people who were false flagging people because I was like, I'm just not dealing with this. I do enough on my own. And, you know, then like, when all this shit started happening, I was like, you know what? If this bitch wants to get on her high horse about, first of all, let me just put it out there. This dumb cunt follows my alternate account. So she's like, everybody's sneaking her.
You're free to use names if you want.
What? Feel free to use names.
You can use names.
Oh.
At this point, everyone who's involved is gonna be involved. So
everybody knows anyway. So she's like,
I'm taking a side just because I'm streaming with you.
She thinks you're taking a side because you and I are friends. She's a psycho. She's literally psychotic. Like.
Buttercup or
ugh. Let me just because I can't. But like like her literal life is on the internet. I was like, can you get some fucking friends or a puppy or something? Jesus Christ. And somebody who'll love you unconditionally for whoever you are. But yeah, so she like was freaking out because and like the screenshots are on Gab, so it's kind of funny. But she was freaking out because she thought that somebody was feeding me information from an account that she blocked. And I'm like, you dumb cunt! You follow my other account. Like what?
Do you still have that other account?
No, because it's when it flagged the ISP or the IP rather, not the ISP. Sorry, I'm tired. I was at work all day. But yeah, it flagged my IP address, so it flagged everything. So it flagged everything, which just so everybody's aware, I didn't make that account to spy on anybody. I made the alternate account, like, I don't even know if I made that one before I made the other one, but like I was using it to post Oscar. I was using it's at Dorian Gray 7, right? 7 was my number when I played soccer. And initially when I started the account, I was using it to troll people by just posting Oscar Wilde quotes. Like on their thing. And I think the name that I used was like Tyler Durden or some shit. Like, I don't know. Whatever, it was dumb. So I was just like, I was only going on there to post Oscar Wilde for a while, and then I got bored of that, and I think I created my other account, which used to be an account that I used for a blog that I ran. But then I was like, this blog shit, I'm done with it. So I killed the blog, and then I just kept the name. And then when I started YouTube, I switched my @ to the YouTube @ because it was easier. So like this, I mean, like this wasn't like a stock account that I created out of the blue randomly to stalk people. It was my probably first or second Twitter account. And I used to get banned off Twitter like a lot. So I had like Allie Writes 2, Dorian Gray, like some other one.
I actually went through my replies and actually found a reply to that @ so
yeah.
so
like I mean I had like a bunch of
apparently
them. So I mean it wasn't like
to ask if the person has 2 buttholes.
I mean I wouldn't know, but I'm sure you could ask any of the various people who she thoughts around with, and they would probably know.
I think Jacob is thinking you're referring to Liz Reptile.
That's what I was thinking.
No. Liz and I are cool.
Yeah, I didn't think she was responsible.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? I like Liz. Liz is all right.
But
I mean, I don't keep up with other people's drama.
Yeah.
If somebody has a problem with someone else, it's generally not my problem. And like,
yeah, but
Liz,
I was just referring to the closest thing.
They've never been anything but nice to me. I mean, Seeps made the parody songs or whatever, but just because it was funny, because it was a meme. Suit's good friends with Liz, like, it was just kind of a funny moment. So like, I don't know. I wouldn't think Liz would have anything to do with this. But that's just me. I don't go around blaming people.
Yeah, but
no. This one starts with an H and ends with Itsugi. So
I wonder who it could be.
I mean, yeah, she had her cunting boyfriend go to my boyfriend to threaten me, and I'm like, oh my, that's scary. You can't come to me. That's very metal.
To be fair, you do
asshole.
scare me when you're mad.
There's a lot of people
like,
probably.
If you're gonna go around threatening somebody, just come on.
At least threaten the person.
It's ridiculous.
If you're gonna grow enough of a pair to threaten someone, at least grow enough of a pair to threaten them directly.
The whole problem I've even had with her is that she goes around and talks shit about me, then tells me she's not talking shit, which I know for a fact that she was talking shit. So I know for a fact that she's still talking shit, because I saw her on a stream today and she's like, I'm feeling crappy. And somebody's like, oh no, is it you know who again? And I'm like, fucking motherfucking shit. Like, I knew it. Like, so you're running your mouth around to everybody. And my only problem with her was like, if you have an issue, come to me. We're friends. It's okay. But she'd rather go run her mouth off to everybody and anybody else who will listen. Talk about how I'm a terrible person, how I always make her cry, how I'm always mean, and I'm always this and I'm always that. And I'm like, nobody else has these problems. Like, no one else that's a friend of mine. I mean, if you're somebody who's just a dick, then you're probably going to catch it. And that's okay, because we don't ever have to cross paths again. Ever. Like, that's the beauty of it. You just avoid someone. But, I mean, I am who I am, and I don't really care. But at the end of the day, like, all I asked of her was to come talk to me. The first time she and I had an issue that was like the most minor of issues, is probably a tonal issue, because it was in a DM group. So, like, I said something about using last names or whatever, and she said something about, because she's a total fucking weeb, but she said something about in Japan it's like rude to use last names. And I swear to God, and this is the exact tone that I would have used to say it, I was like, Am I in Japan? Am I going to Japan? Do I care about Japan? And like a laughing face emoji. And she freaked the fuck out. Like, lost her shit. Went insane. Started like, you know, and then she's like, well, it's basically my whole life and that's fine. And you're just gonna like throw my whole life away like this. And I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. Like, I was just kidding. And she's like, no, I'm just very defensive of Japan. Then she goes to my boyfriend in a DM. So I'm like at work. It's night. It's late. I'm washing dishes, talking to my boyfriend. He's like, hey, babe. I really hate to do this to you.
That sounds like him.
But...
It does.
And I'm like, what? He's like, well, see, I was talking to Hitsu, and she said that you said something that wasn't kind, and it would mean a lot to me if you just apologize. And I was like, no fucking way! And I lost it. And he was like, on the other end, he's like, I'm sorry. I didn't know. And I was like, that bitch.
Mad when you get mad.
I'm like, she doesn't go to you. She doesn't go running in your DMs playing Tattletale. What is this, fucking 5th grade? This bitch. I was like, she comes to me. It's like, you go and you tell her if she's got a problem, she needs to come to me, that she can't come to you. And he's like, please don't make me do this. And I was like, you know what? Fuck her. I'm going to say something to her. And he's like, please just give it like 24 hours. And I'm like screaming, and I'm like, who the fuck does this shit? Like, who goes to some, like, you're my boss, like you have any control over me. I was like, if you value this relationship, you will never fucking do that again. And he's like, okay, so I thought I was being helpful. I can see that this isn't helpful, so it's okay. We don't ever have to talk about it again. And I was like, you're damn right, we don't have to talk about it. And so,
I'm taking that, probably wish he had a ball gags on him at that point.
He's probably like, he's like, I wish I hadn't said anything. So then I'm like, he's right. I should give it some cool down time. I should get a rational head. She's your friend. Let's talk to her calmly. And so I did. I explained to her how it made me feel. I'm like, look, this is my boyfriend. He doesn't want to hear that I'm a shitty person. I don't want to hear from him that I'm a shitty person because that's what you're saying. Like, that's not okay. Please don't do that. And I'm like 90% certain somewhere I have a screenshot of that. I know that I'm brusque, so maybe that seemed a little bit brusque to her, but I wrote that down so many times and like tried to reword it to make it nice. Like 7,000 times I tried to make it like
because you wrote it once and you're like, that sounds like an asshole move. Let's try to do something better.
Yeah, well, because I wrote it the first time and I'm like, why would you go to my boyfriend and not go to me? Like, if you have a problem, we're friends, you can just come to me. And I was like, that's too aspy. I get it. I'm very like, whatever. So I was like, let me just slow down. Let's talk about how we feel. Okay. And I'm like, how would you feel if somebody went to your significant other instead of coming to you and they were saying all of these nasty things about you, right? Because it sucks. Like, you don't want anybody going out, especially someone who you consider your friend, going out and saying shitty things to somebody who you're trying to build a life with. And so, you know, I get this little, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize, next time I'll come to you, blah, 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 blah.
It seems like something, though, that should be, like, natural to know.
It's just, I mean, not everybody is comfortable going to the direct person because they don't like conflict, but there's a difference between...
conflict. I'd still go to you if I have a problem with you.
Right. There's a difference between...
At the same time, there's still the case that it's probably not good to third party.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always going to piss me off more if somebody goes to somebody else. Because it's like, one, it's super inefficient. Like, just go to the source. If you have a problem with someone, just be like, hey, I have a problem with you. Which is what I did for her. I didn't tell him, you know, like, at first I was like, you tell that bitch to get out of your DMs. But like, obviously I was a little bit upset. So like, and I didn't say anything like that to her, and he didn't say anything like that to her because he's like, I don't think that's a good idea. And I'm like, do you really fucking care? And he's like, I do, because she's your friend, and try to remember she's your friend, and I'm trying really hard to be your conscience, but you're like in some zone where you're like super pissed at everything. So I don't know, maybe you can hear me over here in the corner telling you to chill the fuck out, but maybe not.
This puppy pisses me off.
Did it resemble an abusive relationship at that point?
Maybe. I told him, I was like, if this is how this is gonna go, every time somebody has a problem with me, they come to you for like you coming to me to get me to apologize or whatever because they think you're my weakness. I'm fucking walking. And he was like, don't do that. Like,
no plan.
Like, it's early enough in our relationship for me to be like, I'm walking away from this and not doing it.
We'll go get my own relationship. We'll plan it.
Yeah.
Hooker.
I'm like, not something I need. But like, you know, I tried really hard to be nice to this girl. And then I just fucking had enough. I'm like, every fucking day I gotta hear from one of my friends about what shitty thing I did to her. And I'm like, and for 3 weeks or more, I just fucking ignored her. I was like, I'm just not gonna talk to her. Because anything I say, she like freaks out, has a meltdown, is like, I'm having nightmares and an anxiety attack. And I'm like, I just said hello. What? It was your tone. You're yelling at me. Okay. So I just fucking ignored her. Like, I just stopped talking to her. And then I get a thing on Twitter from Thrax, who's like, he's like, I want to know what's going on with Hitsugi. And I'm like, I haven't talked to that girl in like weeks. And then I get in his DMs and I'm like, well, what? So then it's like, oh, this is what it is. She's suicidal. She says you guys are mean to her. You're not talking to her. You're ignoring her. And I'm like, oh, fuck this bitch. And then, you know, of course, it's my fault that she's suicidal. So, you know. God. So, like,
yoga.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what you do, right? So, like, at this whole point, I'm like, dude, I can't win. So I'm on the phone with Eebs because I'm like, what do I do? I'm like, you know, here's the thing. You know, my best friend committed suicide. I went and identified her body. Like, I don't think it's funny. I don't like to play with that stuff. Like, if somebody's genuinely suicidal, then, like, please talk to me. Like, let's talk you down. Let's figure out what we can do. I don't want anybody, even people who, like, are shitty to me, I don't want them to commit suicide. Like, just live your life. That's fine. I'll live my life. But, like, at some point, like, I'm now being accused of causing someone to commit suicide, which is completely the opposite of what I would ever do, ever. So I'm hurt. I'm upset. And I'm like, what do I do? I'm damned if I do. I'm damned if I don't. I stop talking to her because every word I say to her is like a problem. And then then me not talking to her is a problem. So, like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know if I should talk to her or if I shouldn't talk to her. Or if I say something, if she's going to, you know, I'm cutting myself because you're a jerk. Or if I don't say something, I'm cutting myself because you're not talking to me. Like,
you're not talking.
I can't win. Damned if I do, and damned if I don't, right? Like, then,
that's a shitty thing to do.
You know, then all I get is, like, constant subtweets about what a shitty person I am. And I'm like, please, let's talk this out. Like, and then I finally just had enough. And I sent her one and I'm like, look, here's the deal. And it was mean. It was rude, whatever. And then she blocked me. But she still followed my other account. So I was like, well, let's see. And all she did is talk shit constantly about me. And now she's on this, like, victim status platform. She's like, Ellie's mean. She's a bully. She stalks me. She harasses me. And I'm like, There was a time where I didn't talk to you, and then you accused me of causing you to commit suicide. Like, what do you want? The fuck do you want from me? Like, all I fucking want is for you not to be a goddamn lunatic in my mentions. That would be nice. So if you could calm the fuck down and stop being a fucking lunatic, that'd be great. I had, like, private hangouts with her where I was pissed. So I'm like, Seeps, you need to come on and referee because I'm going to tear this bitch a new asshole. And she brought Jason on because she felt like Seeps and I would attack her. Which, if you know anything about Seeps and I's relationship, or Seeps in general, he is the least confrontational person. Like, he will try to fix it, and I'm just like a bull in a china shop. I'm like, no, this is fucking horse shit. And he's like, baby, that was hurtful.
It's really okay.
He's like,
I feel you.
I don't think this is the way to approach the situation. Now, at the time, I was still trying to salvage our friendship. So I said to her, I was like, it's up to you, because it's your choice. If you feel like you want him here as a buffer, then that's what he'll do. And that's his only job, because I don't need anybody to talk for me. His only job is to be like, babe, you're being a bitch and you need to cut it out. And that's fine. So she said that's fine. And then she was stressing out because she thought like the two of us were going to attack her or something, which I get. And I understand. Sometimes when you're stressed and you feel like somebody's mad at you and then they bring somebody with them, you feel like it's a gang up. So she asked
to volunteer because I'm kind of the neutral party here, but I didn't want to get involved until just recently.
Yeah, so I mean, she asked a couple other people. Jason ended up saying that he would do it, and she asked me. She was like, "Can Jason come on?" And I was like, "That's fine." I'm like, "Whoever you need, whatever." And she's like, "I just feel like I need somebody on my side." I'm like, that's fine. The first thing out of my mouth is, what the fuck is your problem with me? And she started crying. And then after that, I got a text and here's babe. That was a little harsh. And I was like, for fuck's sake. And I was like, please don't cry. Like, look, I just want to know where the disconnect is, what the problem is, how can we help, what can we do, how can we fix this? I don't know. I'm so stressed. Okay, we'll take a deep breath. And I like literally guided her through a deep breathing exercise to calm her down, stop crying. And then I get a subtweet that all I did was yell at her. I'm like, fuck you. Fuck you. If I was yelling at you, you'd know about it. Like, that's for damn sure. Like, I said one thing straight out of the gate, came in hot, got told that it was too hot, cooled it down, sat with you. We came to an agreement, like, yes, I'll come talk to you if I have a problem. I'm very shy. And I'm like, look, I don't always get that somebody else is emotional about a certain topic or a certain thing, because that's not how my brain works. I have Asperger's. It doesn't work that way. Like, it's hard for me. So just tell me. I'm like, I'm super receptive to criticism, because I know that sometimes I fuck up and I say things that I shouldn't, or say things in a way that I shouldn't say them. And I get that. Like, that's what happens. But you need to be patient with me too and say, hey, look, this hurt my feelings. And for 9 times out of 10, I'll be like, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize. The one time I'll be like, yeah, that was the point. I wanted to hurt your feelings. But like 9 times out of 10, I'll be like, my bad. Because I get it. Sometimes it comes off and it hurts feelings. Don't mean it to. But like, you go around after that, after we had a conversation, you said to me, yes, I'll work on it. Okay. You go to 50 people and tell them that I'm a dick, that I'm mean. I'm like, come on. Really? wasn't mean to you. I was very nice. Because once you started crying, instead of being like, why are you doing all these things? Why are you saying all this nasty shit about me to people that I care about, that I love? And then I'm getting turned around and told by 6 or 7 different people that I need to apologize on a daily fucking basis. That this is a thing. Like, I mean, come on. And I have since seen the DMs and the things that she said about me. And it's fucking, it's so mean. I'm like, really? These are the things you were saying about me, and me saying, what the fuck is your problem with me? That's the meanest thing I could have come up with? Sit down. It's about to come. Like, oh, no. So, like, I don't know. And then basically, like, you know, I'm just assuming since her boyfriend threatened me that was why my account got flagged. So, I mean, but that's an assumption. That's not concrete. Obviously, we don't know who flagged my account. Yeah. But that's just the way that I feel. I'm like, you literally threatened me, and then a day later, my account's dead. So.
It's oddly suspicious.
I mean, yeah. Whether or not that's what happened, like, burden of proof's in your court. Like, why would you do that? I don't understand. But, I mean, of course, I'm a shadowy figure. I'm someone who is not to be trusted, right? In one breath. In the next breath, she's really my friend, but I don't know for how much longer. Right about until I find out that you're sending DMs like this. Fuck you think? Really? You know, go in and talk shit about everybody, and then, oh, but we're still friends. If we're friends, then come to me. You have my phone number. You have my email. You have my Twitter. You have my Hangouts. Like, there are so many avenues that you could have come to me and been like, hey, I think what you're doing is shitty, and I'd like you to stop. And I would have said, well, I think what she's doing is shitty, and you need to tell her that she needs to stop. We need to have a conversation. That's it.
Yeah.
But, like, that would have been the end of it. But no, we have to go and call names and say shitty things about people to completely unrelated parties because we're brave, right? Like, come on. It's ridiculous. So, I mean, like, from where I'm standing, I'm like, I don't understand. I don't understand any of it. I don't understand where it went wrong. So what I've been looking at has been this chick's interactions with my boyfriend because, you know, why wouldn't I? She wanted to get close to him. She was in other people's DMs asking how to get close to him, how to get to know him better. Like, she feels like he's not close to her and that she wants to get to know him so well and all this other bull. And then...
Even I don't do that kind of stuff.
I mean, the thing about him is he's kind of antisocial. Like, he'll get to know you when he gets to know you. Like,
I feel you see.
How he is. Like, and like, it's on his own time and his own terms, and I don't control him. I don't tell him who he needs to talk to or who he doesn't. I told him that he needed to make an effort with her because she was concerned. And I thought at the time, very low self-esteem, because she's always depressed about something and her life sucks and this sucks and whatever. And sometimes your life sucks just because you suck. And that's what I've kind of figured out about this one. Her life sucks because she sucks. That's just how it is. And so, I mean, end of the day, like, I mean, I'm just going to lay it all out in a video, but I look back at it and it's like, you're telling 2 and 3 different people that you really want to get to know Seeps, that you really got to know him, that, you know, you feel like he's so distant from you and you're concerned and it's stressing you out and it's hurting your feelings and all this, that, and the other. And we're on a hangout and he's, you know, doing this. She blushes a lot, which is probably a put on anyway. But so they're trying to make her blush was the whole point. And she's on this hangout. And so I'm on there. She's on there. A couple other guys are on there. And starts in with this, you know, my ideal man is someone who is, like, can speak Scandinavian or one of the Scandinavian languages and can sing and has glasses and has a beard. And I'm like, this bitch is describing my boyfriend. She's like, sometimes his accent's a little bit off sometimes because he's not necessarily from Scandinavia, but that's okay. He has kind of like a dad bod. And I'm like, fucking, she's describing my boyfriend. So I'm in there, I'm like texting him, I'm like, ha ha ha, LOL, you're her ideal man. And he's like, please, God, no, don't say that. Like, I hate this. Please don't make me do this anymore. I don't want to get to know her. I don't want to, please just make it stop. And I was like, come on, she's my friend. Stop being a wet blanket. Cut it out. I'm like, he wanted nothing to do with her, like, ever. And then only thing I hear from her is how close they are, right? Oh, they're so close. They're so close. You know, he and I have a bond, whatever. And I'm hearing from him, please stop me, like, letting her DM me. Like, tell her to DM somebody else. I don't want to talk to her. Like, she's in my DMs again. And I'm like,
find someone else for her.
I'm like, please, please, she's my friend. Please.
I recall in one private hangout I had with her that she did say she died over her perverted side, his perverted side, over his nerdy side over his perverted side.
That she preferred what?
In a private hangout I did with her a while back, I recall her saying she preferred Steve's nerdy side over his perverted side.
Yeah, because they were really close. She told me they're super close, and they both play Skyrim, and they have a bond because they both play Skyrim. And he's like, please don't fucking make me talk to her anymore. Like, it's weird. It's awkward. I don't like it. Do not want. Please make it stop. And I'm like, stop it. She's my friend. Please don't be an asshole. And he's like, I'm not trying to be an asshole. He's like, just stop involving me with her. I don't want to deal with it.
I'll make it be an asshole. Like, just feel comfortable.
And then I'm like, I know she's weird and awkward, but she doesn't mean any harm by it or whatever. And like, now I'm looking back and I'm like, this bitch is trying to hook up with my boyfriend. Like, I see what happened. You got jealous.
Hindsight being 2020.
You got jealous and then decided to
fucking laugh if she like
fuck my life.
Funny if she like tried raping him and you just said, "Oh, just deal with it. Just go with it."
Yeah. Well, I mean, basically, like, that's what happened. And that was the last thing that I ever, like, said directly to her, was in a DM. And I was like, he doesn't like you. He doesn't want to talk to you. He hates you. Like, just please leave him alone. That's the only thing just fucking leave him alone. And she never did. She never stopped. Like, so she's, like, telling him, like, about how bad I am and all this shit. And I'm like, fucking, this whole thing is just because I'm, like, irritated because you're trying to suck my boyfriend's cock. Like, I'm over it. And, like, like, I don't understand. And everybody's telling me I'm crazy. No. She says she doesn't want him. She says she doesn't want him. Now they're looking back at how it went, right? And they're like, oh, maybe. And I'm like, I don't usually, like, I'm not a jealous person. But at the same time, like, please don't tell me that you're going to fuck my boyfriend or, like, that you have dreams about his dick. Like,
yeah, there's a line. There's a line that should be crossed.
That's the man that I love, and I know you've never seen his dick before, so I'm kind of confused. Like, what's the deal? Like, you know, shit like, oh, is he really Aboriginal downstairs? You know, like, I don't, what? Ew. No, like, that's not yours. Go away.
That's not yours.
Like, I just, like, it got to a point where it's, like, so fucking weird. And, like, oh, God. And then, so he blocks her. Like, she pissed him off because she sends this DM, and it's a diatribe of how shitty I am. She's like, she's stalked me, she's harassed me, she's bullied me. And then she's like, I don't have any beef with you. And he's like,
I have beef with you.
What the fuck? Yeah. Like, he's like, you don't have any beef with, of course you don't. Like, you have beef with my girlfriend. I have beef with you. Like, I don't want anything to do with you. And, like, so she's like, she tries to rat me out. Like, I don't talk to my boyfriend 24/7. So she tries to rat me out. She's like, I don't have any beef with you, and I know Allie says that you hate me. And I'm like, he knows that I said that. He's trying to rat me out like I'm going and putting words in his mouth. He knows, because I said. And he's like, please just don't involve me. Like, I don't want to deal with it. I'm like, no. She deserves to know because everybody is making me out to be this badass, bad person and whatever. And I'm like, and she needs to know that people don't fucking like her. And he's like, oh, God.
Just say what's on your mind, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I get where he's coming from, but still, there's a point.
He's like, I just don't. He's like, because then he's like, if you say that, she's gonna be in my DMs asking, and I'm just gonna. He's like, I'm gonna have to deal with it, and I'm like, well, it's your choice because I'm sending it. And he's like, okay.
Okay. I think at this point he knows better than to try to convince you not to do it. He's just like, I'm just gonna deal with Fallout.
I'm like, whatever. He's like, oh God. He's like, there's my girlfriend making people cry again. Like, and I'm like, I'm sick of it. I'm like, I'm reading all of this shit. I'm getting messages from my friends 24/7. Like, you know, you hurt her feelings and she's having anxiety attacks because of you. And I'm like, I haven't fucking said 2 words to her. What is there to be anxious about? Well, she's anxious because she feels like you hate her. And I'm like, I don't hate her, but I don't want to go near her either. She keeps telling people she's committing suicide every time I open my mouth. Like, I do not want anything to do with her at all. Like, I was just happy existing in my own bubble, like, every day. Well, maybe you could reach out. And I'm like, she's a fucking narcissist. All she wants is attention. I don't want anything to do with this bitch. And I'm like, you guys keep talking to her, you know, let her, you know, make her feel good, whatever. But like, I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see this shit talk all over the place. Like, I just don't, because the minute that I'm like, hey, Hitsu, she's going to be like, I'm cutting myself again. You said hey with a tone. Okay.
You capitalized it. That means it's bad.
Like, what the fuck? So I'm like, okay. So then I was like, I'm just going to ignore it. I just won't talk to her or whatever. And she got all fucking pissy about it because everybody's ignoring me. I'm like, not everybody, just me. Like, I just fucking want to deal with it. Like, if you're going to be crazy on your own time. Don't be crazy on my time. I don't want it.
I don't really ignore people. I just tend to forget people are there. That's why I try and go
I was, like, actively ignoring her. Like, I'm just not, like, I'm not dealing with it. So I'm like, okay, well, she tagged me in a tweet, and I was just like, oh, no, my thing is really busy, and I just didn't see it, I guess. And I'm, like, actively fucking ignoring it. I'm like, I know if I say a word, it's going to be like, because I said something about not tagging me in mass tags. And she made that a thing. But, like, I would be at work, and I'd be getting notifications all day. Like, I had to turn my notifications off. And then, like, I would miss the notification that I wanted to see because it's, like, fucking 50 people, you know, with 7,000 notifications. I'm like, dude, I just don't want to be mass tagged. Like, it has nothing to do with you. I don't want to be mass tagged by anybody.
Sorry about that, by the way. I did that once. I apologize. I
mean, once is fine, but she tagged me in, like, 7 mass tag posts, like, a day for, like 2
You didn't
weeks.
want your phone being turned into a vibrator.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, and then she freaked out. She's like, she doesn't like me because she doesn't want to be in my and I'm like, you're sending me the pictures in DMs, and then you're mass tagging me on Twitter. It's like, so I already saw the pictures, then I'm seeing them again, then I'm getting all the notifications from everybody else who always devolves into some, like, other thing, and it's like 7 threads. I'm like, it's not there's nothing personal, it's just getting fucking annoying. Like, it's just a lot. Like, don't mass tag me every two hours. Just, you know, one is good, or just don't do it. That'd be nice.
I have that problem with notifications. It's like, whenever you would be talking to someone that had notifications on, my iPad would just explode. I'm like, how do I get rid of it?
It freezes the app, and, like, I don't know how many people jump on my, like, I'll tweet something, and then, like, next thing I know, there's, like, 20 people on a thread. And I'm like, oh shit. Like everything just freezes. My whole phone froze. So like I had to like shut the phone up. It was getting annoying. And so it wasn't like I cared or I was mad at her or whatever. I was like, please, a little courtesy. You know, like I already saw the pictures. I think it's very cool. I appreciate that you're abroad and you're doing cool things. That's awesome. I love that. I love that you want to involve me. However, it's a lot. So like, I mean, which I would say to anybody. I would say that to people that I hang out with on the daily. Like my friend Brittany was sending me pictures when she was on a cruise. And I was just like, I don't need all 500 pictures, babe. Like, that's nice. I'm real happy for you. But like, this is a picture. I'm like, this is a picture of like you dropping your phone. Like, it's like the one accidental picture. Like, I don't understand why this came to me. It's a lot. Just show me when you get home, you know? And she's like, oh, I'm at a cafe, so I have Wi-Fi, so I'll send you pictures. And my whole day was fucked because it was like just pictures, like 500 pictures. And I'm like, dude, it's too much. Like, all the memory on my phone is now taken up by like your picture messages. Like I can't even open an app. Like everything's all frozen. You got like 600 pictures of Europe in here. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. Somebody's trying to call me. It's like knocking it into voicemail straight away. My mom's trying to get in touch with me. I'm like, I have to delete a bunch of shit. I don't know how to get it working again. I like factory reset the phone. Like, it was ridiculous. And I told her the same thing. I was like, it's just a lot. Just slow down. Just send me like 10 pictures. Like 10 of the best ones. Like,
send your favorite.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever ones. I was like, even if it's like 20 of them, that's fine. I was like, but this is a lot. Like, that's a lot today. So I mean, it's not, and like, that's my best friend. That's somebody that I love. Like, I've had her over my house for dinner. We sleep over each other's houses all the time. Like, so I wasn't being a bitch. I was just like, it's a lot. Please stop. And I thought if I made the joke about turning my phone into a vibrator that, you know, it would lighten it up a little bit, but swing and a miss on that one. So I mean, like, it's totally understandable why I would just fucking ignore, like, and just not talk to her. But I mean, everything I say, you're making a big deal out of, and I just don't know. Like, like, I've never dealt with anybody like that before. It got a little draining. Not gonna lie. There were a lot of days that I had what I refer to as a Hitsu headache, because I was like, oh, here we go. And it's a lot. Like, and then she's on her timeline and she's like, nobody cares about me. And it's like, like, okay. Like, okay, you're right. I don't care. Like, I've just been listening to you talk to me about your whole life, where you wouldn't even let me get a word in edgewise. Like, hey, what's your day like? Oh, it's this. Yeah, okay. Well, okay, I gotta go because I have this. Yeah, and so anyway, blah, blah, blah. It's like paragraphs of bullshit. And I'm like,
if someone says they have to go, you can't let them go. Like, I'm
just like, it just was a lot. It was a lot. And so, like, as far as I'm concerned, the way that this person is trying to paint me, I don't like it. I never liked it. And I'm not going to take it. Like, I've been bullied plenty of times in my life. I know what it feels like. I know how it feels. And this is definitely a case of me being bullied. So there you go. Now you guys know how I feel about it. But when you send somebody into somebody else's DMs to threaten my name, I mean, bullying is intimidating somebody to stop something, to stop them from being who they are, or to stop them from whatever it is that they're gonna do. And he gave me an ultimatum that either I would be cordial,
fucking ultimatum,
or he would drag my name through the mud. At this point, that's called bullying, and it's not okay. I've never bullied her. I've said mean things. That's not bullying. That's being mean. There's a difference. Didn't give a shit if she kept going, but I was going to get my side of the story out because it's not fair. You can't have one person running roughshod all over the place talking about, you know, she thinks I don't deserve to have friends, which is fucking bullshit. Because Vulcan can vouch. I never once told him to stop talking to her. I never once
I can vouch for that.
Yeah.
I never once said anything about not discussing anything with Hitsugi or whatever. I don't fucking care. Like, Vulcan's life is his life. If he wants to talk to whoever, then he can talk to them. Vulcan isn't me. I'm not going to control Vulcan. More than once, if I was going to be absent from a stream, I said, why don't you ask Hitsugi? She likes to stream. Even though we had problems. I don't think that way. So, like, for you to run around running your fucking mouth about what a shithole person I am just because it's a subtweet where you don't attach my name to it. Everybody knows who you're talking about because you're in DMs telling them about it, and I know you're in DMs telling people about it because I have a screenshot of your stupid chat that got sent to me because somebody was like, oh, I guess she is talking shit about you. Because this other girl was like, oh, is it you know who again? So it's like, this person, this totally random that I don't know on a stream that I don't watch. And it's like, oh, so you're just going around to random people and telling them what a fucking piece of shit I am. And then all of a sudden my Twitter account is no longer able to work. So did you?
I don't know if that had more to do with Buttercup than Hitsugi.
I mean, maybe.
We don't really know at this point.
They're buddied up.
I mean, at this point, you've made so
up.
many people mad at you that we can't be 100% sure.
True.
Yeah, but Buttercup isn't the one who threatened me. And to be honest, like, Baz is an asshole, but he's not a flagger. I mean...
No, they never struck me that way.
I mean, I don't think Buttercup would flag anybody. And she and I don't get along, but, like, I would never flag her shit. Like, she sent me a dick to choke on. I actually thought it was kind of funny. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't actually mad, but like, I thought it was funny. I was like, that's pretty good. Just it was like this big black dick. She's like, why don't you suck on this? And I like retweeted, or I like, because it was a subtweet, and I like subtweeted back. I was like, I see somebody sending me a dick, and I just want to send a message that I don't want your sloppy seconds. And I thought it was funny. Like, I really thought that was a solid tweet. Like, I was
that's
like,
pretty hilarious.
That's good. That's a good one. I'll give you that. That's funny. Well done, Buttercup. That's well played. But like, I mean, don't get mad and call me a bully when you're literally sending me dicks to suck on. I mean, come on.
It's not really bullying, though. I mean, if you think of it, that's kind of a nice thing to send someone their own dick to suck on.
Yeah, I mean, and like whatever Tonka and Vamp and Anon had with her, like, I had nothing to do with that. I understand it looked that way because, well, one, she deleted all of her tweets, and two, because everybody was on the same thread when she spurred out. But like,
like I think I was on that.
I had nothing to do with it.
I think.
What? Were you on that thread too?
I think I was saying to Miss Anon that it may have been taking it too far to contact the boyfriend.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with that, and I said to Anon, because she was like, well, how do you feel if, and I was like, look, I just don't involve myself in people's business. I've been accused of being the person who did that multiple times, which Anon fully admits that was her. I mean, that's not me talking shit on Anon. I love that woman. But like,
she is pretty cool.
It was just a fundamental disagreement, and we disagreed on a stream about it. Like, it was like after a stream or something, and Annie and Mark were there, and Anon was like trying to plead her case, and she's like, right, Allie? And I was like, look, I'm just gonna tell you what, I don't involve myself in other people's business. And she's like, she feels really passionate about it. That's her thing. And I was like, I think it was a step too far. She's apologized for it. She said it was a step too far. So, I mean, you know, sometimes you get heated and there are things that bother you. Everybody's human. So anybody who's like, oh, you got triggered, or oh, you got this, or you got that, it's like, come on. Everybody has a topic. Something that they're passionate about that makes them crazy. It's perfectly human, and if you don't, it's weird. So, like, I get it.
I haven't found
But once you're like,
I'm waiting for it.
I don't know.
You will. It'll come.
I'm gonna hate that game. I'm gonna get really mad. I'm gonna be like, wow, really? That's cycling?
It'll be something weird. But, like, I mean, my thing that I get really upset about is people that can't come to you. Like, I don't know. I always deal with my problems out in the open. So, like, when somebody's going, oh, she's a shadowy character, it's like, everybody knows I'm not shadowy because, like, all of the nukes are, like, out and firing full blast when I'm pissed. It's not like... it's not like I'm, like...
mad, you head for the hills. Because you know it's
coming.
It's not like you were very silent when you were mad at Tevin.
No, I mean, I'm not silent when I'm angry about anything. Like, if I'm pissed, I'm pissed. That's just how it is. And if somebody comes to me and is like, you know, I don't want you to be pissed at me anymore, well, fucking, I don't know what to tell you. It's too late. Like, you hit the red button and now it's nuclear.
You got fucked up.
I don't have very many other modes. And, like, one of my modes isn't, like, I'm just going to sneak around and tell other people bullshit. Like, I don't do sneaky. I'm not good at it. I'm a fucking terrible liar. I've lied to my parents once in my life, and I paid very dearly for it. Like, even when I was, like, if I came home from high school and I'd smoked a joint, my mom was like, are you high right now? And I was just like, yes. Like, I didn't even fucking try to lie. Like, I just put my head down and I was like, yes. The only time I've ever lied to my parents. And, like, the worst thing is my parents, my mom specifically, is always like, you're faking. And I'm like, I have never lied to you in my life. My sister lies like a rug. She's really good at it too. And I'm like, how do you lie? Like, I don't understand. And she's like, you're just dumb. But, like...
How do you get away with this shit? Teach me your ways.
My sister's like a genius. Like, she drew on the bottom of a table and then wrote my name in it. And I'm screaming. I'm like, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. My mom beat holy hell on me. Like, just smacked the hell out of me. And I'm in my room crying. She's like, you don't get dinner. Like, you're just going to bed. And I'm like, you fucking do it. Like, I'm probably like 6 years old and I'm crying. I'm like, I don't understand. I don't know what just happened. I just got beat. And that's the first time I've ever seen that. My mom's like, is that your name? Yeah, it is. She's like, well, who else would have done it? And I'm like, I don't know. I guess if my name's there, then yeah, but I don't remember doing it. Like, it wasn't me. I just remember screaming, it wasn't me, it wasn't me. My sister had taken the letters of my name that she saw on the fridge on, like, a piece of art or something and just copied them because she didn't want to get in trouble for drawing on the table. 21 years. My mother had no idea. She comes home from college and, like, my sister was talking about it. She's like, I don't know. Mom just never trusts you. It's really weird because we had gotten a new dog. It was the first time I'd ever lied to my parents. The dog was very sick. And she was at, like, a puppy store. And I'm more of an adopt a dog type person. But I saw this dog. My mom wanted a little dog. And it had, like, crusty eyes. And it looked really sickly. And it was super tired. And I was like, I wonder if I can convince him to take it and save its life. And so, like, the next day, I told the store owner, I'm like, hey, this dog has crust in his eyes. He's like, oh, we'll put it back. And I'm like, okay, I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll take a look at her. And bring my parents back. And I'm like, she's like, this dog looks like a rag. Like, she's just dead on her feet. And I pick her up, and I'm like, she's so sweet and cuddly. my mom's like, I couldn't even look her in the face. She's like, she looks kind of tired. My dad's like, yeah, it's weird. All the other puppies are playing and she's real tired. Was she playing when you saw her the first time? I was like, yeah, she was running around. And I'm like, not even looking at her. I'm like, I'm looking at the floor. I'm like, she's real playful and stuff. She just must be tired. You know, like last time I saw her was at a different time and you know, it's like nap time maybe. And so they're like, okay, she's cute. They get her. That dog came home and shit blood everywhere.
Oh, geez.
She had giardia, she had kennel cough, and she had a double eye and ear infection.
Good
and so, like,
Lord.
we get the dog home, and it's just like a fucking meltdown. The dog goes on the floor and sits down, and it's just like, and my mom's like, oh man, sometimes they have kennel cough when they're from the kennel. And then just blood starts shitting out of her ass like the elevator scene from The Shining. And I was like, oh fuck. I'm like, you couldn't have even waited like more than 5 seconds when we walked in the door. And my dad was furious. He's like, are you kidding me? You told me this dog wasn't sick. And I was like, okay, maybe she was like looking a little rough. And they said they were going to take her to the vet, but they didn't. And I was worried. And so I just thought, you know, maybe you guys could pick her up and you'd love her and she'd be awesome and you'd love her forever. And they were like livid. I was like, oh jeez. I still have not lived that lie down. Like, they love the dog. She's very healthy. They took her to the vet, got her medication. They called her baby. She goes everywhere with them. My dad like puts her in the truck and takes her everywhere. And they're in love with the dog. But still, my mom's like, I'll never be able to trust you again. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I am the literal worst liar. And then we were sitting in the den and they're talking about it and they're like, I was just really disappointed in you because I can't believe that you would lie about that. That's a big purchase. It's a dog. It could have made the other dog sick. And I was like, I know, but I just wanted to help. My mom's like, you know, I mean, at this point, the dog's healthy. Everybody's fine. So it's not a big deal. But, you know, she's giving me shit for it. And my sister's like, yeah, you're a way worse liar than I am. I was like, I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, Mom still doesn't know about the table. And I was like, oh, fuck you. I got hit so hard for that. And my mom's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, when I was little, I drew on the table with permanent marker and you like punished Allie for it. And you had to wait until Dad came home and was like, that's not her handwriting. She's like, I didn't even get punished. I was like, I fucking hate you. I got in so much trouble. And my mom's like, I thought you were lying to me. I was like, I don't lie. And she's like, well, clearly you do. And I was like, thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
Like, my sister's like, yeah. She's like, you just thought I wasn't smart enough to write her name because I didn't know any of my letters. And I was like, like, you were just pretending so you could get me in trouble. That's fucked up. It's not okay. 21 years, my sister was able to keep that, like, locked up. I'm like, seriously? And my mom will tell me all the time, like, she's like, you're the untrustworthy one. I'm like, what? I'm super trustworthy. And she's like, well, I have a dog. And I'm like, we'll never live down the dog ever as long as I live.
That one lie fucked you over.
Yeah, for the rest of my life. Yeah, like, I don't know how she does it. I'm like always in shock, but she lies about fucking everything. Like, she was in high school and they were at a party drinking and it got busted up by the cops. So I'm sitting out on the porch. I'm probably like 18 or 19. I'm sitting out on the porch of my friend's house with a bonfire and, you know, everybody's smoking blunts or whatever. And I'm like halfway to wasted. I get a phone call from my little sister who's in Ohio. I'm in Florida. She's like, hey, can we talk? I'm like,
yeah. Did you start?
What's up? And she's like, are you drunk right now? And I was like, a little bit. And she's like, okay, me too, but I'm freaking out because I'm in the back of a cop car. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I'm in the back of a cop car, and a cop is outside because he's like talking to some other cop, and we got picked up leaving a party, and my friend and I are in the back seat, and we've been drinking, and we want to know if we're going to jail. And I'm like, the fuck should I know? Like, I've never been to jail. I'm like, I've never been arrested, so I don't know. And she's like, do you know anybody who's been arrested? And I was like, yeah, I'm sitting with him. So I put my friend on the phone, and he's telling her about how it works. And he's like, oh, they haven't read you your rights? You're fine. You're not going to be arrested. Oh, you're not in handcuffs? You're going to be fine. And so then I get a phone call from my mom. Where are you? Like, I'm over at a friend's house, and, you know, we're having a little get-together or whatever. She's like, well, your sister just got brought home from the cops. And I'm like, okay. She's like, but they let her go because thank God she wasn't drinking. And I'm like,
how?
what? And she's like, so I just wanted to know where you were and that you were safe. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm staying over here. We're just in the backyard. And she's like, okay. Then she's like, are you drinking? And I was like, yeah, I'm drinking. And she's like, seriously, are you drinking out? And I'm like, I'm not driving. Nobody's going anywhere. Like, what's the problem? And she's like, so irresponsible. I'm like, my sister just got picked up on the side of the road leaving a party. I'm staying inside of my friend's house. I'm irresponsible. Okay. So I was like, well, all right, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye. And then, like, probably like 4 years ago, she sit down at the table, and we're talking about all of our various experiences getting arrested. Because at the time, my mom had never been in handcuffs, right? So at one point or another, everyone in my family has been in the back of a cop car, with the exception of my grandmother. But welcome to life in the fast lane, I guess. So I got put in handcuffs and thrown in the back of a car because somebody at the tag office wrote the wrong color on my registration. And so they had to tow the car to make sure that it was the right VIN. So they had to inspect and tow it. So I got arrested. Well, not arrested. I got detained. And they, bring you to the station and whatever.
So
I was in tears.
It was just someone
yeah,
else.
I mean, it didn't end up being like, I didn't get charged with anything. I wasn't in any trouble. So they were like, we just have to detain you in case it is a stolen vehicle. And I was like, oh, jeez. So, like, I'm hysterical crying because I'm like, I've never done anything like this before. The car that I was driving was in my parents' name because I was young and I didn't have any credit. So I'm like, I don't know, but it's my mom's name. It's not my name. I didn't steal it. You can call my mom. Like, in tears with this police officer, and I'm handcuffed in the back of the car. They got the drug dogs out. All my shit is out of the car. They're like going through my car. They come by, the canine team. Hey, we just want to know, do you have any kind of drugs or anything in your car that you'd want to get rid of before we go through the car? Like, yeah, because they're gonna let me do that, right? So I'm like, I have ibuprofen in the console, and the guy's like, it's not what I'm talking about. But ibuprofen in the console, okay. Thanks for that. Good job. Like, so I'm like, is that gonna be bad? And he's like, no, it's fine. Okay. And I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen? And then they're like, okay, we're gonna drive you to the station. We're gonna sit you in general booking, and you're just gonna sit there because you're just being detained. You're not being arrested. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. And they're like, it just means that you're not going anywhere. We can't let you out. If you're getting arrested, we'll read your rights, whatever, and then you'll be booked. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, well, we're gonna put you in. So I'm like a little bit shaken up, I would say. And I'm like, please call my mom. And he's like, well, you get a phone call if you get booked. And so it's like 2 hours that you have to sit there. So by the time anybody else ended up here is like an hour there. So I'd kind of calmed down a little bit. And I'm like, okay, I cannot let anybody who comes into this room see me cry. Because if I get thrown in a cell with one of them, like, I don't want anybody thinking I'm, you know, a bitch. But like, I'm 20 years old, on my way to work, and now I'm in the back of a cop car. It's a little inconvenient. So this girl walks in, and they have her in chains, you know, same as anybody else, right? So she's got chains on her ankles. She's wearing the suit, so like obviously she got arrested. And I'm sitting there chained to a bench next to her. Like, I mean, there's a lot of space in between us. Like, she couldn't have gotten to me, but like,
I feel like she could have found a way.
yeah, you like look over at the next person because they just walked in the room, and you know, it's just natural to look. And she goes, "What you want, Barbie doll?" And I was like, nothing. And she's like, "What you even in here for, Barbie?" And I went to like the depths of like the worst places I've ever been in my life. And I was just like, grand theft, what's your problem? And she was like, okay, all right. And I just was like, don't fucking look at me. And she's like, all right, girl, that's fine. She's like, I just got here on a shoplifting charge. Damn, grand theft. And I was like, yeah, I'm in here for stealing a car. And she's like,
I mean,
all right.
technically you're not completely lying.
I just didn't tell her it was my car. So she's like, all right, shit, you better than I thought. And then, next thing, the cop comes in, and he's like, all right, Miss Davis, you're free to go. We're real sorry about that. And I was like, oh, thank God. He just took off. Like, I could not have gotten out of there fast enough. It was just like the whole world of Nope. So then, like, I got my cell phone's blown up. My boss is like, I'm never late to work. Where are you? You're missing your shift. Like, you're in trouble, whatever. Then I explained to them what happened. And like, they give you like a write-up of like, if you ask them, I was like, can you give me like an excuse note to give to my boss? It's like, I'm gonna get fired. And so they were like, yeah. So they wrote out, like, it's not like even anything that they would like put in the system, because it was non-incident, right? So they wrote out a warning for my tag that it didn't match, that I had to go to the tag office within 30 days or I'd be fined X amount or whatever. That's what I took to my boss. I was like, this shit sucks. And then my dad had something similar kind of happen, so that was interesting. But he didn't get detained there, and they just let him go. I was like, oh. They're like, yeah, they checked out the car, and they were like, okay, you're good to go. And I was like, fuck. What? This is bullshit. My sister obviously was in the back of a car for drinking. So as we're talking about all of our experiences with traffic cops and how sometimes that sucks, my mom is like, well, I've never been arrested. My sister's like, I can't believe you believed I wasn't drinking. And she's like, you were drinking? And she's like, yes. It was a high school party. And I'm like, I told you, she always fucking lies to you.
Then, that dog, though.
My mom no longer can say that she's the only one, because she was holding that over our heads for a while, because all of us at some point had either been in a pair of handcuffs or detained by the police. So she's like, I've never had any run-ins with the law. So we're in New Orleans, and it's my first time there. My parents wanted to show me around. She's coming out of a parking garage, My dad and I were drinking. My mom wasn't because she's driving. And the parking garage is really well lit. So she had her lights off because they were, I think they were like automatic lights or something, and she forgot to turn them on. So she gets pulled over, and next thing you know, she's out of the car. The cop's like, smells like alcohol in here, and she's like, yeah, my daughter and my husband have been drinking a little bit, and she's like, okay, ma'am, I'm gonna need you to step out of the vehicle. My mom is doing a full sobriety test. Like, my dad and I are there, and both of us are like, oh shit. So like, the cop's like, well, I'm gonna ask you to submit to a breathalyzer test. And my mom's like, okay, that's fine. So she puts my mom in handcuffs, takes her in the car, takes her to the station, and she's like, I have to take the keys because she said that the two of you were drinking. So she takes the keys to the car. So my dad and I are outside the car on the sidewalk with our phones. Like, what are the chances of someone being intoxicated by proximity? Like, my dad's like, they should have let me go with her. That's my wife.
Secondhand drunk.
Yeah. He's like, they should have let me go with her. That's my wife. I don't want her to be alone. And I'm like, will you leave me alone? And he's like, well, we could have both gone. And I'm like, no, we can't go to the police station. What if we jump the cops? And he's like, I know, but I just hate the fact that she's over there and she's all alone and scared. And the whole time, I mean, my mom hadn't been drinking, so she wasn't worried. And the two of us are like super paranoid. He's like, God, what if she gets arrested? That's going to be terrible. Like, I'm going to feel so bad for her if she has to stay there. Like, we have to get her out on bail as soon as we can. And I'm like, what are the odds that this happens? like how could she possibly have gotten drunk from like something, like one thing or nothing, or I don't even know. Like,
if you blow in someone's face when you're drunk, do they get drunk off that air?
Right. That was exactly what we were Googling, like all this shit. Because, I mean, like, everybody's like, ho, common sense, you know it doesn't. But, like, when somebody you love gets carted away, you're like, oh, God, what's going to happen? And so the cop brought her back, and the cop was super nice. She's like, thank you so much for waiting. Sorry, we just have to do that to keep you guys safe because your headlights were off. I have to write you a ticket for your headlights being off. And, my mom's like, okay, thanks. She's like, she was super nice. And my dad and I were like, we were so worried about you. Like, it was definitely a spectacle to see your mom get arrested.
I mean, that's a story for a different time.
I have no knowledge on any of this.
I don't know. I think my family just has like really shitty luck when it comes to the cops. Which is funny because
apparently your grandma.
Yeah, I mean, she's old, so she doesn't care. She doesn't give a shit. But like the thing is I always see these news stories and they're like, they only go after black men, and I'm like, they must go after us also. Jews. They know. They smell a northeaster when they see them. Like, I don't. Like, how even? It's just blacks in my family. Those are the only people that cops arrest.
It's not even Jews. It's just you guys.
I know. I'm like, what are the odds that like literally everyone in my family has had something weird happen to them and never like had anything like chargeable? Just like, it's so weird. I'm like, there's something wrong with us. We just must look guilty or something.
Well, interesting. But it is actually 10 o'clock over here. I believe it's some other time over at your guys' house. So
it's 11.
It's 11 here.
It's 8 where I am.
But I think it's a good time to call it quits. So to everyone who came by, thank you for watching. Have a nice day and ball gag.
Later, guys. Ball gag.